All right, we in there, man. We in there. We sending out to the algorithm. What's good, YouTube? We getting things together, man. I'm starting up things on Instagram right now, and we're gonna get the show going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's your boy Big A back in here like I left my wallet and keys, man.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
yeah. And it's your boy Dre, and this is Samurai Kennels, Wednesday night, sip and chill. Title for the night, Rep Your Dog Decades and Cities. Tonight, we're going to be covering some topics as far as the different personalities within the dog game. And there's one thing that I think is very, very underrated. That is consistently the age and demographics of who's involved in this dog game, man. We're going to give y'all some time to get in here and give our shout outs and stuff like we always do. And then, of course, we'll kick the show off right at 6 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock East Coast time. Let me see who we got in the building already. Let's see who we got in the building so far. Dickie, mother loving Foster in the building. What's good, Dickie?
Hey, what's happening, Dickie?
Hey.
Man.
And I put in the background for y'all the overlay of Saki's topside pedigree. And it's just some dogs that I think are noteworthy in the pedigree that I wanted to share with y'all, man. We got who else we got in the building? Arrowhead Kennels. Salute, big dog. What's good?
Hey, what's happening, Arrowhead? Yes, sir.
We got Dickie.
Mike,
where you see
Mike
that?
Dan. Mike Dan.
And the man. Hey.
Yes, sir.
We got AQ Henry. Hey, AQ, that was a good video you did earlier, brother. Salute. Respect.
Yeah. Wayne Moan, what's happening, bro? Man, seen that post, man. That was what's up, man. Yeah.
Man.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Brother Ween is in real time over here, man. Ain't no games.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
Yes, sir.
Dickie Foster with a two-piece. Tip.
Hey.
Oh,
hey.
Get it. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And for y'all dog lovers out there, man, tonight, when it comes time to rep our decades, man, for those of y'all who have the time and are willing to come on here, I would love to get some of y'all on here to kind of rep the decades because I can't speak about the 80s. I was born in 1990. And I want to give y'all some of the nuances that I think we kind of overlooked tonight.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Hard finished Kennels in the mother loving building. What's good, big dog?
Hey. Yeah. What's happening? Melee. Yes, sir. New suspect.
Melee. New suspect. Yeah.
New suspect.
Let's get it. Yeah. Uh-oh. Who the meanest, toughest mofo in town?
Show enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Wifey already in the building, you know. My mom is actually here with me today, y'all. She won't be watching from home. She's in the kitchen right now whipping up my favorite meal, some fried chicken, some dirty rice, Carolina style, like that Bojangles dirty rice, some mac and cheese, and some cabbage. But yeah, man, salute to Mom Duke's coming out here hooking up and showing us some love. It's a lot of work with these kids, man. I got 6 of them in the house, man. Yeah, but we get into it, man. We get into it. Yeah. Big A, we gonna well, let me talk about some of these dogs that's playing up here real quick. So right here, this is Weird Jack coming down off that Black Jack stuff. This is Long's Weirdo, a Jeep bred dog. This is Little Rascal, 4-time winner. Of course, Jeep, champion Jeep, 4-time winner. We talk about him tonight. Honey Bunch, Walling's Bully Son, and of course, Eli. And that's where I kind of stopped my research with my bloodline and stopping at Eli. Of course, it goes beyond Eli. But honestly, if the dog ain't in my 3rd or 4th generation, it's probably minuscule and very, 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 unless it's a very, very prepotent dog, you're not really seeing a lot of that stuff in there anymore, man. So, but yeah, man. Dickie said, sounds delicious. Oh, it's going to be delicious. And y'all going to hear me smacking and licking my fingers while on this live tonight, too. You know, for real. Yeah, man.
What you gonna do with the bones?
What you mean with the bones?
With the bones, man. From the way.
Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna be taking the bones and making bone broth, and I'll be doing a video of how I make my own bone broth. Big A put me on the bone broth with the beef bone broth, but I found a recipe for the chicken bones. So those of y'all who eat chicken bones, man, don't just be getting rid of them. You can save them, and then you can even make bone meal as a supplement high in calcium. So we don't want to waste any more of the. For those of y'all who know, I eat chicken wings every Wednesday, and I've yet to really capitalize on all that raw material that there is left over after I get done with the bones. You know, cracking them open, getting the marrow out of there, boiling it into a bone broth, and really making something jump.
Yeah.
Heart and Finish says, I got my first pit in 1996. Bought a Cadillac and put a thing on them. But anyways, it was ADBA registered, seal color, dog. They say it was a blue. Now it was seal color, bro. Salute to you on that one. And salute for sharing that, man.
Yeah.
And that just shows typically whatever decade you were born in until you kind of hit your teenage years, you know. So like I was born in the 90s, but I would say I kind of really grew up with the late 90s, early 2000s stuff. So like Mayday was big, and man, the Y2K scare, 9/11, that was my, I was 11 years old when 9/11 happened, and just things like that, man. I want to talk about also the sensitivity level, like y'all 80s and before dog men. This is gonna start an argument, but fuck it. The dog men of the 90s and beyond, right? Because there's even dog men out there 24 years old who were born in the year 2000. We were raised in a generation that is a lot more sensitive. And I think even though y'all had y'all own stuff, y'all handle it differently than we handle it now. And I look at the murders and things that are happening now, even with the whole like attempted assassination on Trump. A lot of us are extremists. You know, a lot of us are extremists, man. Wayne Moon said 70s baby. Hey, we're gonna talk about that too. The actual what the era offered. Like I remember like me coming in, I'm a wire generation kind of dog man. Oh man, the legend is in the building. Man, Mr. Garcia is in here. Mr. Garcia, I'm gonna put the link in the chat, y'all. And Mr. Garcia, you can come on here if you feel like it. If you want to just chill, we completely understand. But I want to give you the opportunity to be heard because I'm gonna talk about some things tonight that you lived through. Brother Ween, Brother Arrowhead, Brother Heart and Finish. Basically, if you were born before 1990, like you have something to offer that I don't have to offer. And I'm just being 100% like just genuine with y'all on that one. Okay. But tonight, the dog I'm gonna talk about is gonna be so by the way, all the dogs that are the dog of the night that I kind of do a pre-recorded video on are dogs that are actually in my pedigree that I'm learning about. You know, I learned about it from y'all brothers that call me and reach out privately. And so I've learned a lot by just talking to y'all. And don't ever think that information you share goes in one and out the other one. But I basically have like a build up. So if I start talking about hog dogs, right, I'll do like a short and then I'll do a live and I'll do a video about it. And what happens is I just make my way full circle. So if you present a subject to me and you don't see it covered like immediately, it's one of those things where I'm kind of making my way around it because I want to make it basically like a series building up to whatever it is we're talking about. Big A.
Yes, sir. What's happening?
Oh no, man. I just had diarrhea in the mouth. I wanted to give you the floor.
Oh no, we good, man. We good, bro. Keep it going.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna move this down so y'all can kind of see some of the names. Some of these dogs I intentionally didn't put the names on there because I feel like it's a given for some of these dogs that are in my pedigree. But for those of y'all, if you don't know and you're green, ask somebody in the chat, man, because I guarantee you, man, it's yeah, Melee, it's in rotation, yes, sir. MKM Bottoms, salute, big dog.
Hey,
Big salute. Big
yes,
salute,
sir.
bro. Yeah, man. Hey, a lot of y'all brothers, y'all trusted me and entrusted me with the responsibility of sharing information and like different breedings that are done, not in the public eye. And I will not violate that. I promise you, I'm not about to violate that because what y'all have done is when I see a dog now, okay, let me explain to y'all how important this is to me before we shoot off the intro. Some of y'all have sent me dogs, and then I look at a person's pedigree and I see your dogs and other people's pedigrees. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that. I didn't know that person had that influence. Like, I'll show y'all one of the dogs in this pedigree when it flashes again. But I didn't even pay attention to that. Brother Thaxton, shout out to Brother Thaxton. He's going through his stuff, you know, with the law. Thaxton's blood is in my pedigree. You know, and I'm proud of that because you know I hear about it on the internet, but I'm like, man, I don't know these guys. but you'd be surprised how small of a world the game dog world is. And you know, I'm like, it does affect us all. You know, what affects one affects us all. So this is Woodall Skinny, and this is Staxton's Dino, one-time winner. Okay, so obviously that's an older photo, you know, statute of limitations and everything. But yeah, man, I just had no idea. But as I researched my pedigree and I want to share it with y'all and talk about the dogs, learn about the history of them, I want to ensure that y'all are getting a good quality product from the people who actually knew, saw, and handled these dogs, man. Mad Doctor, salute, man. Best of health to you, my brother. Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Who was that? Dreadlock. Salute, big dog. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all. So it's about that time. We get to that point where we want to kick off the show with the intro. And then after the intro, we get into the itinerary, and we're gonna rock out tonight, man. We're gonna rock out. Salute to everybody and enjoy the show.
What's good, big dog? This your boy Dre, and this is Samurai Kennels Wednesday Night Live. This is one of the most interactive lives you're going to see on YouTube, especially in the dog community. We are the home of the Neo Dogman movement, a movement which is dedicated to the development of better animals through building better people. We are the home of the Digital Dog Show, the Online Obedience Challenge, and a host of other competitions that allow us to get out and compete both physically and with the knowledge about these dogs. Our goal is a positive image movement for the dogs, as well as the uplifting of righteous and just men.
Welcome to the pit where the bulldogs reside. Wanna kick it every Wednesday we live. Cost you nothing, smash the like button, subscribe. I be in the back with the chat, then my guys, members, backstage, you get a surprise. Schoolboy coming through, dropping dimes right on time. Walk 'em down Ram, cool as a fan. But if you try to scam, won't go as planned. We live by the code, that blue shoot old. Every Monday night, kick it with that solo. There go JT, represent the D. Facebook jumping like a Oak Cliff party. There goes the game by the ton, yeah. If you tune in, might get you some. We be the show, but he be the gun. Hell no, we ain't no wimps. It's pimps over simps. Bites so intense, grabbing dogs through the fence. But anyway, what's up, Big Dre? Heard what they say, drill instructors don't play. No, they wasn't born, they were made that way. Trust me, I talk to them every single day. Now what did I forget? It's back to the script. Oh yeah, Digital Dog Show too legit. Biggest event to benefit all participants. Why you missing it? Big A signing, not Shogun paw print.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's kick this show off, y'all. Hey, man, shouts out to brother John Denbury. I seen you coming through in the building, man. And anybody who I may have missed, man, make sure y'all keep commenting, and I'll get you in there very, very shortly. But yeah, man, I want to go ahead and say thank you to all of y'all who have been here since we were at 500 subscribers. And brother Ween reminded me, man, we hit a milestone, y'all. We just cracked 3,000 subscribers this week, man. We just cracked 3,000, so it's obvious that the movement is being heard and being seen, and we appreciate y'all, man. We genuinely and earnestly appreciate everything y'all are doing to support us, man. Thank you.
Big facts, man. That was a big time milestone, man. Huge. Yes, man. we made it. We in the big
Hey,
league.
hold on, man. I got a legend in the building, y'all. I gotta look who in the building, man. Mother love the schoolboy in the building. What's good, big dog?
Hey, what's happening?
Man?
How's everybody doing?
Always great, never bad, schoolboy.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Good.
Mr.
Love the
Garcia,
vibe.
I saw your post with you doing that book signing, man. That's dope. That's dope.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, that was for my nephew, but I've done some other ones. I'm gonna have to do some more because I lost a bunch of photos and even some vids. I have some vids with my grandchildren when they were real little, just interacting with pit bulls, and if I could find them, I'd like to post those.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hey, so I'm putting out a story tonight, Mr. Garcia. If there's any nuances, I got it from Box Dogs Kennel. It's an article they wrote back in the 90s. And I'll be sharing it very, very shortly, and probably in like the next 10, 15 minutes. It's an article on Jeep. And if there's any corrections,
Okay.
man, let's make sure I'm putting out good information and accurate information. Because
All right.
I want to make sure that we get it right. But how have you been?
I've been good. How about you?
Man, schoolboy, I've been better than blessed, man. I can't complain. I got more kids than a litter of puppies, man. So.
Yeah, I seen all them babies, man. I'm glad you're still able to have children, man.
Yeah,
There's nothing
man.
like it. There's nothing like it. How many you got? There was what, 6?
6 now, yeah, man. Yeah.
Are 2 of them twins?
Yeah, they are. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's like my daughter. She got 8 kids and she's pregnant again.
Wow.
Man,
Yeah,
hey,
she's got twins too.
And the crazy thing is with the kids, how many they, the from you.
Yeah. Well, I look at it like my wife. She produced all these kids and grandkids, and hopefully soon great grandkids. They all come from her. But yeah, I'm responsible for them too.
Yeah.
That's like one time we had a big, family reunion. My grandma was still alive. She was in her 80s. And I ain't kidding you. There was about 70 or 80 people there that she was responsible for.
Yeah.
Man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, my grandma had 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah,
Yeah.
that's my grandmother had 13. Yep.
Yeah, I had a neighbor. Go ahead.
Oh,
I was gonna say I had a neighbor, and we were talking about children, and she said I had 16 kids, 11 of them lived. So there's always some heartbreak there, but man, 16 kids, even 11 is a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My grandmother's sister, my great aunt, she had 20 kids.
Wow.
Yeah,
they don't make them like that no more.
Wasn't no internet, wasn't no Facebook, none of that. All it was working. When you get home, hey, time to hop in the bed.
Yeah. Well, they weren't so uptight. They liked it, They didn't have all this stuff in their head about this or that. They just did their business and they were happy with it, man.
Hey, fellas, that kind of ties into the show tonight too, man. For those of y'all brothers in the chat and those of y'all on the panel, I've already shared the decade I was born in was the 90s. I was born in 1990. If you guys don't mind sharing y'all decades, because it's going to matter. We're going to talk about kind of the development of the breed along with the development of our generations, because my generation owes everything to you guys. And I want to talk about some of the dumb shit that my generation has done, the post millennials have done, and just kind of share with y'all the lineage of the dog man and the neo dog man movement, man. So y'all brothers go ahead and start sharing.
Yeah, every generation make mistakes. That's how we learn. I was born in 1960. Got my first pit bulls in 78. So all of the 80s and then half of the 90s. Almost. I think I marked it out one time. I competed for 17 years. So I still have dogs today if it wasn't for my mistakes that we talking about right now. We all screw up. Should have been smarter.
Nah, man. I think I hate that happened to you, schoolboy, but man, your story, it's a story of it's game. That story is game, man. I
try and instill that. I always say my wife gamer than me. She had a rough life. She's tougher than nails. and I grew up country and hardworking like that. And we try and instill that into our kids and grandkids and nephews, neighbors. You know, she's babysat a lot of kids. She's helped raise a lot of kids, neighbors, friends, strangers. It don't matter if they're kids, she'll take care of them, and they always remember. You know, some of my kids' friends used to call us mom and dad. You know, and they still do to this day. They've grown up, have kids of their own. They still call us mom and dad. So you know, if you can influence them, hopefully, mostly in a positive way, because you're going to make mistakes too, then it's good. And then as you get older, you get to see the fruits of your labor. And my kids are all active. They all work. Some still go. One still goes to school, and they just have that mental toughness. You know, our grandson. You know, they all involved in all kinds of stuff, soccer, but the grandson who lives with me, he started taking boxing about a couple of months ago, and he loves it, man. He can't get enough of it. That's all he thinks about, you know, because he knows I'm a boxing fan, and I took boxing and martial arts when I was younger. So you just keep paying it forward, man. But let somebody else talk. Go ahead, brother.
I'm just listening.
I was born in 1982, man. Schoolboy, you older than my mother and father.
Yeah. That's a compliment to me.
Yeah, man. 601 Big Hill. What's y'all generations? What's y'all decade?
I was born in 1978. I was born when Mr. School got his first dog. So, you know, yeah. That's me right there, man. 1978, man. You know,
nice.
You know,
I'm an 82.
That's a year there. That's 78.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm 82, man. 82. Yes, sir.
That was a good year.
I'm gonna throw some shade. I'm gonna throw some shade right now. So I'm a baby.
Damn.
I'm the baby, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I couldn't stand 80s babies. My siblings were all 80s babies, and I'm gonna tell you the difference between 80s babies and 90s babies. 80s babies are tougher. They are, and they talk to us. They talk to us like we was built like them.
Yeah.
Like the 90s babies, we are the Disney kids. We're the Disney kids. We're the Pokemon, Digimon kids, and you know a lot of my brothers from the 90s aren't going to want to admit that, but we're the Lion King, and you can do whatever you want to, and everybody's special generation. We're also the generation where we lost the Presidential Fitness Award at school.
Man, y'all generation is the short attention span generation, man.
I'm gonna blame that on the 2000s kids, man. I'm not gonna take that one, but definitely softer. Even like sports even started getting softer in our generation, man. And
that everybody gets a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about. Go ahead, Schoolboy.
I was gonna say I think Kennedy started that program.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Hey, welcome down, Ram. What's happening? Yeah, bro?
Ram is talking a bunch of
What's
flip
up?
Chat.
What's up? What's up, Ram?
Yeah, Ram talking that references in the chat, man.
Yeah. There's good and bad in every generation. Things change, but some things don't change. They never change. I point this out to my wife sometimes, because you ever heard of Barney Miller, the comedy show Barney Miller? Cops in New York. Okay, it was in the 70s, so that's 50 years ago, right? The stuff they talk about in that program, that's what people talk about today.
What they talk about?
You name it: nuclear weapons, racism, poor people, rich people, government, spies. You name it. It's almost the rhetoric is all the same. Ain't nothing changed.
Yeah.
And the concerns they had back then, it's the same concerns people have now. It's just amazing how much you think that was 50 years ago. That's a long time ago. Some things changed, but now they really haven't.
Yeah.
They really haven't. You name any issue political or economical or whatever. Today, that's what they talk about on that program. It almost mirrors
Yeah,
it, you know.
I gotta go check it out.
Yeah, it's comedy. You know, they talk about
Yeah,
prostitution, homelessness, you know, all kinds
yeah,
of stuff, man. Everybody's corrupt. You know, all the politicians,
yeah,
cops are corrupt, and politicians corrupt, government officials. You have some people, you know, believing in aliens and all kinds of stuff. It just covers the whole gamut of life in the U.S. and they even bring in people from other countries, and you know, same shit.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Hey, so I want to do a quick shameless plug right here. Schoolboy, where I got you. We're hosting the next Digital Dog Show August 31st. Obviously, we want you to judge the best condition and the best puppy because we want to have somebody who can look at a dog and say, hey, you know, you kind of missed the mark on this one, and we'll give them
Yeah,
feedback. And then we're gonna do like a dunk contest style. We'll have a panel like we got at the bottom right here, and we'll just score the slap mill race. We're gonna just do 1 minute. You know, we're not gonna burn the dogs out. We're gonna just see just which dog just kind of push the hardest on there, and we're gonna grant that one as well. And for all the competitors, man, Mr. Garcia is a legend in the game. You can find him pretty much anywhere where there's positivity happening at. So we're honored to have him be our first ever judge for the Digital Dog Show. And I got a quick commercial I want to play, and then we'll get right back to the show. Here goes. Your
appreciate it.
submission must include a frontal view of the dog, get the best one you can, a side view of the dog, best angle possible, a proof of scissor bite and healthy teeth and gums, a video of the dog walking to demonstrate proper gait. Gait is the movement of the dog to ensure that it is light and springy as the American Pit Bull Terrier should be. Then you can finish off the video by showing your dog doing any types of work that you want to set it apart from the other competitors in the show. Thank you for watching and enjoy the next digital competition.
Sir.
Yes, sir. And in Schoolboy, is there anything you would change about those demonstrations that I showed to kind of help the people out there want to compete?
I would a couple of tips I can give is when you're taking the front, side, and rear view, I would take several pictures and then pick out the best one, the ones you think are the best. Hopefully, catch them in some type of movement, or some type of flex. You know, it may be they're on the end of the lead, you know, pulling, so you can see the muscle tone and the build like that. And if you're, you know, usually when you're walking a dog, you know, on lead, and I think this was developed this way because most people are right-handed, so you walk the dog on your left side, and some of that has to do with law enforcement. Most of them are right-handed, so they have their right hand free to pull their weapon. Some of it has to do, most people are right-handed, so they have they can use their right hand better than their left, where they can just hold a dog with their left. But either way you do it, if you're left-handed, I would suggest holding the dog on your right with your right hand, so your strong hand is free. That's kind of the reason. Well, I'll give a little bit of history why soldiers, when they you know, on horseback, when they pass each other, they're on the left, because most of them are right-handed, so they can fight with their right hand. They can draw their sword or their pistol or whatever. That's kind of where that came from. That's why in Europe and other countries, they drive on the left-hand side. It has nothing any more than to do with that, because most of them are right-handed. So you're passing someone, you're passing an opponent or another fighter or a soldier, whatever it is. You can fight with your right hand. You're on a horse, you're on the left side, they're on your right side. So when you cross each other, you can fight like that. Right. So I would And what I was going to say is the way you did it, how you had the dog in between you and the camera. That way the judge can see the movement of the dog, and you're not blocking the dog's movement or its structure. So with that being said, save me a plate. Save me a plate.
Yeah.
That's how Mexicans are. We might not go to the wedding, but we're
Yeah.
gonna tell whoever went to bring us a plate back,
Yeah.
And he ain't even stop. He ain't even stop chewing and acknowledge that you want a piece of the chicken and nothing. Now, schoolboy.
Nah. Yeah,
He just kept on
yeah,
biting.
yeah. He didn't even blink or wink or nothing. Raise his eyebrow. Yeah. Yeah, that's all right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Come up for air, Dre. Come up for air. You can come up. Well,
Yeah, man. Hey,
He had it on mute, so we couldn't hear him smacking his lid.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife brought the food in for me while you guys were cooking, man. And yeah, man. So look, thank you for those pointers, and I appreciate it, y'all. I gotta show our next clip real quick because I want to make sure we get it in. Schoolboy, this is the clip I was talking about. This is a very informative clip, specifically kind of for the newer bulldogger. Most of you guys already know this information, but this story, like I said, is from Box Dog Kennels, and it was a letter written back in, I want to say, 1987. Check it out. The true story of Crenshaw's champion Jeep, 4-time winner and registered married. Many people do not know much about this dog. They say, I got a Jeep dog, yet they know so little. Some of the times and matches for champion Jeep. Jeep defeated Pliant's champion Cato at 43 pounds in 28 minutes. Smoked him. Cooper's Winnie at 43 pounds in 28 minutes. Consistency. Stinson and Steps Black Dog at 42 pounds in 2 hours and 5 minutes. And champion Ozzie Stevens Homer in 3 hours and 45 minutes. Jeep died in October of 1989. Jeep was sired by Kerr, Finley's Bo. Bo had quit versus Vindicator. In today's world, a dog off of a Kerr would never have been bred. But back then, stories had a way of changing information. This is what happened. Jeep was known as a dog with no great strengths or great weaknesses. During his campaign, a super bad dog called Chavis Jocko wanted him bad. The owner of Jeep knew that this would be a bad idea, so he avoided Jocko at all costs. There were 2 matches I want to share with you about Jeep. First, against Vince Cooper's Winnie. Winnie was a tough dog. During the show, he had Jeep on the run, and the Kerr in him started to show at about 15 minutes. At that point, he headed to the wall, but Winnie caught him. Then again, he went for the wall, and again, Winnie caught him. At this point, James Crenshaw started talking to him, getting him confident. A great lesson to all young dog men out here. Most dog men now would start cursing at their dogs when they do this kind of stuff. Jeep started to respond to James Crenshaw. Then he got the break he needed. Winnie ran hot. This allowed Jeep to recover and get his confidence back and to gain some control of the match. The match ended and Jeep won. But if it had not been for Winnie catching him, Jeep would have quit. Crenshaw won that show, not Jeep. In efforts to stay away from Jocko, his owners took a match with the best dog I had ever seen go. That was Billy Steps' grand champion Angus. He was so quick other dogs could not get to him, and he punished you while you were on defense. When he went to offense, he upped it to killing. Why Crenshaw would be willing to go into Angus and not Jocko amazed me at the time. I had saved up everything I had to bet on Angus. That's when the news broke that Angus had gotten into a kennel accident with champion Ruby and would not go up against Jeep. Rather than lose the forfeit, they borrowed Champion Homer from Ozzie Stevens. In my mind, Jeep lucked out big time. Homer did not get a full keep in him, but still the show was on. Homer, never much of a hard-mouthed dog, was known as a game dog, clearly tailor-made for Jeep. In this show, Jeep showed more mouth than he had ever shown before, which is common for a dog when they go into a weak-mouthed dog. They can bite with all their strengths and not have to worry about getting bit back. Well, Jeep busted up Homer's shoulder early, but Homer kept coming. Everyone there, including Crenshaw, was worried that Jeep would jump the box, but he hung in there, as Crenshaw did his great handling job to keep him confident and talking to him. After about the hour mark, it wasn't really a show, a really slow fight. Both dogs just laid around doing not much of anything to each other. Finally, shock took over and Homer went downhill quick. At the end, Homer looked finished, not from the damage of Jeep, but from the shock. The show was over, and on the courtesy scratch, Homer somehow came. He stumbled and showed the world to be a true dead game dog. In reality, the dog died from shock. Jeep had damage done to his lip and gums, but that was about it. Crenshaw, who by the way has to be the best dog man for getting the most out of his dogs, had a vet standing by and took Jeep quickly to him. He made it and was wisely retired. No need to find Angus or Jocko. In Jeep's litter, he had 3 champion litter mates, the best of which was Champion Holly. She won 4. Charlie was considered more talented than Jeep, but he quit going for his 4th. Champion Missy quit going for her 3rd, but the show was kept quiet and she was sold. She won number 3 and was awarded a champion certificate. Jeep produced a number of great dogs. Chang's Floyd was a superb 2-time winner. He defeated Bobby Hall's champion Black Carlos. Carlos was considered unbeatable, and Floyd showed it all and won. White's Tab also produced well, even though he was never shown. We do not intend to take away from Jeep or his accomplishments. Father Time has a way of changing stories to make them seem better. At Box Dogs, we will bring you the truth on these dogs, not some hype. Facts, so you know what you got in your pedigree. Crenshaw's Champion Jeep, registered merit, was born in August of 1976 at James Crenshaw's courtyard. Offspring of the famous Finley's Champion Beau, registered merit, and Crenshaw's Champion Honey Bunch. This coupling was done only once by James Crenshaw and Maurice Carver for reasons not known. This cross produced 4 champions. The most famous of the 4 was Crenshaw's Champion Jeep, registered merit. But there was also Crenshaw's Champion Missy that was fundamentally the producer of the Crenshaw Yard. Crenshaw's Champion Holly, famous for her terrible bite and ability in matches. Champion Crenshaw's Charlie was said by some breeders of America to have been even better than Jeep. Jeep was bred by James Crenshaw, that sold him at 2 years of age to James Garrett, his assistant.
Yeah, buddy.
Boy, that's good. A lot. That's a lot.
That was good though. That was good.
I would guess that when was this written? 89 or 87?
87, yeah.
Yeah, I think part of that at least is coming from second or third hand. I don't think that person was present because there's a lot of discrepancies there. Like First of all, let me address Homer. Homer was a soft-mouthed dog, had no bite. He had 4 wins. 3 of them were killed. He killed 3 opponents. The only reason he didn't kill the last one because they picked him up. So he wasn't a soft-mouthed dog. He was a killer. And not only was he a killer, like they said in here, he was dead game. And there was no courtesy scratch for Homer. He couldn't make a courtesy scratch. He couldn't make his last scratch. That's how he lost. He got counted out. But it wasn't for lack of trying. He did everything he could, screaming and hollering, rolling around, flopping, trying to get up and get to Jeep. And I've heard from both sides of, pro and con or supporters of Jeep and supporters of Homer. One guy who saw it said, Homer, in 3 hours and 45 minutes, he never took his eyes off a Jeep. That's how game he was. And he was a finisher. I don't know where they got that soft mouth bullshit from, but that anybody who knows those dogs knows they ain't like that,
Yeah.
His son, Grand Champion Virgil, was the same way. Straight killer, man. His fights are all short. And Homer never went an hour. I think the longest he went was an hour. Most of them are, 25, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, like that. So that part is inaccurate. The thing with Weenie, Vince Cooper himself said Jeep was a good dog. And where they might get that he tried to jump out or whatever is, even if you read the match report, Weenie grabbed him by the tail and it discombobulated Jeep. He didn't know what to do. He's trying to reach around and do this and that. And he just couldn't figure him out. But he finally got out of it. And Vince Cooper, who owned Weenie, he never said none of that stuff about Jeep. And I spoke to him back in the day, he was respectful. And, that's what a lot of people do. It doesn't look good if you say the dog that beat me was a POS, because then what does that make your dog? A worse POS than that one, So the thing with Angus is Angus forfeited twice to Jeep, not just once, twice. And he did get in a kennel accident with Ruby. And I think he won another match after the second forfeit. Right? So he was a 6-time winner. He beat 1 2-time winner, 2 2-time winners, 2 4-time winners, and a 3-time winner. So all of Angus's opponents were top dogs, or at least winners. And 2 of them, Champion Freddie was Ozzie Stevens Homer's brother. He was a 4-time winner, and so was Crenshaw's Otis, was a 4-time winner. And I suspect that's why Crenshaw wanted to go into Angus, because he had already beat Otis, who belonged to Crenshaw. And what was the other part? Let me think. When he lost to Jeep, Homer didn't make the count, and Jeep had to scratch to win, and he did. If I have that mistaken, then Jeep scratched, and then Homer couldn't make it, and that ended the show. So I might have that a little bit different. But either way, Homer was a dead game dog, and Jeep scratched last. With what were some of the other things that were said?
So, Schoolboy, while I got you on the subject, in other articles I've read about the match, a lot of people said that Homer looked like not only did he miss the keep, but they said either he may have been worming or might have been sick. Is that something that's also to be considered? Yeah,
here's the thing. There's some discrepancy there, because there's 2 reports, and you can read them. And in the reports, there's nothing bad in those reports said about either dog. The way the scratching started was, according to one report, is Crenshaw called Jeep into a turn. So when he called him into a turn, he walked away, called a turn, and that's what started the scratching. The other thing is, what sick, wormy, underweight dog is going to fight for 3 hours and 45 minutes? Now, he might have been light, and people make a big deal about that. But Homer, the match was at 43. One says it was 42. So I don't know. I never asked Crenshaw what was the actual weight. because there's discrepancy on that. One report says 42 pounds. One report says 43 pounds. Homer was never matched higher than 44 pounds. But if you read his reports, he was always under 44 pounds. So he might have been a 44 or 45, and they made a mistake of going down in weight with him, right? And people are going to say, well, Billy Stepp didn't know how to condition, and Kenny Salmon's a handler. He wasn't a good handler. That I don't think any of that's true. It matched too many dogs to say that.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I mean, a sick dog, a wormy dog is going to fight for 3 hours and 45 minutes. And another thing to the soft mouth part, he punched a hole in Jeep's muzzle all the way through his muzzle. It never healed, and Jeep blew snot out of that hole the rest of his life. He also tore his lip, so they had to do corrective surgery, and they cut that part of his lip off because it was to make it even, right? And if you look at the pictures on Jeep's left side, you can see that where they did that surgery on his lip. So he wasn't by any means a soft-mouthed dog. And what helped Jeep too is when they hit or however it began, Jeep got Homer by either the shoulder or the leg, and he took that leg out in the first 10 or 20 minutes. So after 20 minutes, Homer's fighting on 3 legs, which is hard to get leverage. But he screwed his muzzle up, and Homer was a muzzle and a stifle dog. I don't know if he ever got to Jeep stifle. Maybe by the time he got there, he was too weak to do anything about it. But that's kind of insulting to say he was a soft mouth, just a game dog. No way. And his brother, Mountain Boy, was a 3-time winner. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Okay. We listening.
Yeah.
We're listening.
Champion Homer, or Champion Mountain Boy, there was 3 males, main ones. There was Homer, Freddie, and Mountain Boy. Mountain Boy was a face dog. The people that had him, I know him, they said he would rip your face off. So it kind of goes along with Homer fighting the muzzle. His brother was a face dog, so they have a tendency to go there. Freddie was an ear dog, basically just an ear dog, and he was a superb ear dog. He won 4 matches and lost 2, both of them over an hour and a half, his losses. And I think all of his wins except one were over an hour, hour 15, hour 30, like that. So some of that information is not correct. In some, he made a point of saying dogs are made to look better sometimes over time, which is true, right? People embellish certain things, but also over time, sometimes the dogs, they talk more crap about them, and it's just my thing. I hate doing that with great dogs like that, because my question for any critic is going to talk shit about Homer or talk shit about Jeep. I would ask him, have you ever had a dog that finished 3 out of 4 dogs, never went over an hour for all 4 wins, died dead game in 3 hours and 45 minutes? That's Homer. Have you ever had a dog, Jeep, that won in 3 hours and 45 minutes, beat at least 2 champions? Because that black dog from Stepp, Billy Stepp, where Jeep won in 2 hours and 5 minutes, he was a 3-time winner, supposedly a son of Zebo, because Billy Stepp had a bunch of Zebo dogs on his yard. And then the first one, Cato, he was a champion. Weenie was a 2-time winner. So how many people had dogs like that beat dogs like that? Not too many. Same thing with Angus. They talk crap about Angus. Have you ever had a 6-time winner that beat? All the dogs were winners. 2 of them were 4-time winners. One of them was a 3-time winner. Bobby Love's Tiger. That was his last match. So, people are quick to criticize. But the ones that have been involved with the game like I was, and you had a bunch of matches, and you try to go into top competition, and you beat champions and winners, and you beat top kennels, normally they don't talk that way. because they know what it's like. They've been through the gamut. I've had dogs beat champions. I've had dogs beat multiple winners. I've had dogs that quit. I've had dogs go over 2 hours. I had a ton of them didn't even go an hour. They won fast. I've had several go over an hour and several go over 2 hours. And I've won and lost in over 2 hours. I've had dogs quit, and dogs show extreme gameness, and a couple show dead gameness. So anybody who's been involved like I was, or even those that did more than me, they don't talk like that, man. You don't disrespect the dogs like that. And like I said, most of the people that do, they ain't had dogs like that. I think it's a shame that people don't, like I said, usually the critics are the ones that talk the most shit. If it's a fact, it's a fact. The fact is, Jeep never quit. He scratched every time he was asked to. The fact is, Homer was dead game. Not a soft mouth like that, man. Where'd they get that from? That's insulting to me. That's why I'm kind of getting a little bit heated. It's not right.
By all reports, he didn't even like no soft mouth dog. He liked killers.
There you go. If you know Algie Stevens or you read about him, that's what he liked, hard mouth dogs.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys are like that. But that doesn't mean they don't have game dogs too. You know, a lot of guys, and if you ask anybody their preference, would you like to be there for 2 or 3 hours, or would you like to get out of there in a half hour? Most people are going to say, I'd like to get out in a half hour, man. Get in, get out, done.
I think they paid Ozzie Stevens a lot of money to use Homer, because I think it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
like,
they did.
I think it was like
they
10,
did.
I want to say or something. So I don't think drop no 10 G's for nothing that was soft mouth, especially back then, because $10,000 today is probably like, I mean, back then it's probably like 30,000 today with inflation.
Yeah, or more. Yeah, you're right. That was in 79. So you can look up Google and see what the value is today. It's up in the tens of thousands for sure. And they paid him to borrow Homer. Now, you know, if the conditions were that bad in Ozzy's eyes, I don't know, but I'm just speculating. Then he could have just gave him their money back and took his dog home. So I don't know what the conditions were, you know, but they did pay him to use Homer. I don't know if they told him what weight they were going at. And I'll say this too, if you read the report, Crenshaw offered, I don't know what the time was, but he offered a draw in the fight, late in the fight. And Homer's side didn't accept it. Maybe they thought Jeep was going to quit because maybe he was making certain signs or something. And if that's why they didn't agree to a draw, they you know, it didn't play out like that because he never stopped scratching. He scratched several times and never hesitated on scratch. It wasn't like he's walking over. Anybody got Jeep dog? No, they go over 100 miles an hour. And in fact, one guy told me, he goes, man, I thought Jeep was going to quit, but he just kept scratching. That dog just kept going. He never stopped, you know. He lost a ton of money on it. So within a lot of matches, especially with top dogs, where they're evenly matched, or they start going some time, a lot of different things can play out. And you always have, you know, hindsight. I should have done this and I should have done that. And I would have done this or I would have done that. Or doesn't matter, man. It's a done deal. And you got to take the good with the bad. And things have a way of playing out the way they play out. Sometimes they're in your favor. Sometimes they ain't. I've won by the hair of my chinny chin chin, and I've lost that same way too. You know? So there's too much involved to be so critical of the dogs without looking at yourself and the dogs you have. Because anything similar to what Jeep and Homer did, anybody who's been in long enough has gone through the same thing. Maybe the dogs weren't as famous. Maybe the match wasn't that good, or it was better. Could have been better. But you go through that. I was on pins and needles, man, when my dog won in 2 hours and 43 minutes. His chest was dragging the ground. He had punctured lung.
Damn.
And it was a matter of, could he stay there long enough? Yeah, he did. Never hesitated, never stopped, scream in the corner, scratch hard like that. And the other dog was just played out, and he come out and went off to the side and kind of walked along the side of the wall and got counted out. So those scenarios play out all the time, man. So that's just some differences of opinion, because some of the stuff that was said in there, you can look it up, and it doesn't say that. I've never heard anybody say Homer was a soft-mouthed dog.
Another possible discrepancy is they referred to Bo as just a cur, But
yeah, well, you can talk to
a lot of people.
Yeah, you can.
He got bit down by Vindicator. Some people say he couldn't scratch, and then
he did.
So he won 3 shows, and then he got bit down by Vindicator. So to just refer to him as a cur, I think that's kind of disingenuous,
Yeah. Well, you can, Bob Finley will tell you the story. But you're right. He did get bit down. In fact, he got bit down so bad that during the match, Lonzo Pratt bet, I think Crenshaw was handling Bo for Finley. He bet Crenshaw $100 that Bo wouldn't scratch, and he scratched. So he lost that $100 bet on a scratch. And it went 1 hour and 40 minutes, and Vindicator he chewed him up, man. A lot of dogs wouldn't take what Bo took.
I've heard that some people that were there said he couldn't scratch, and I've also heard that some people there didn't blame him for not scratching. So
like that, and what happened is where that so-called he didn't scratch or couldn't scratch or whatever it was after the match. It was on a courtesy scratch. It wasn't during the match. It was after the match was over. So, and then he won matches after that. Bo did. And he's a great producer. A lot of times these dogs quit or can't go because some dogs, they just can't go, like Homer. I'm sure there's some idiot out there. If he had seen the match and seen the way it ended, he would have called Homer a cur because he didn't make the scratch, right? He didn't make the count. That's bullshit, man. Some dogs can't make it. Some dogs can't go. If you're unconscious, if you're dying, how are you going to call a dog like that a cur? There's no way he would be able to make it.
Too, man. People hurt you behind that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's happened too. Believe me, that's happened too. Yeah, you got to have some decorum. You got to have some respect. And like I said, most of the people that, it's like, I've been to a lot of matches all over the place, even different parts of the world, and more than once at the same spot. The people that are in the box compared to the people that are spectators, it's usually the same people in the box. All them spectators and critics that are outside talking their shit, they don't get in there, or if they did, it's very few times. They ain't the ones doing it. It's the same dudes that did it last month or last year or 2 months ago. And in 2 months from now or 6 months from, it's going to be them same people in there. That's why you see the same names throughout the book, for the most part. You see them repeated over and over because the competitors are generally the same people. You have new guys coming in and they either stay or they don't. But them guys that have longevity, they're the ones getting in there. They're the ones doing it over and over and have champions and winners and grand champions and ROMs and all that shit. So it's because Samurai's on here. I'll say it like this. There's a lot of people that criticize the military. People that criticize the military usually ain't people that been in the military, or they're anti-military, whatever. They ain't in there defending the country. They ain't in there going through basic training. They ain't in there going through all that hardship with their families and all that shit you have to go through. But they're the first ones to criticize. If it wasn't for the military, some of us wouldn't be safe. Huh? So I kind of, as it relates to the dogs, I just don't like If you're telling the truth, that's fine. And if a dog quit and he's a cur, that's fine. But when you bash him and you harp on him and you know, the guy and, you know, he brought a cur and, that dog is a fucking cur, all that, you know, come on, man. You gotta have more class than that.
Hey, I want to say, man, Schoolboy, like that was a passionate delivery, and I appreciate that. I also wanted to give y'all y'all gave a comparison, so I googled it, and that 10,000 in that year would have been worth $25,336.69 today.
There you go. And that was just the forfeit. So how much do you think was on the line? At least double that.
Yeah.
So that was almost a $50,000 match.
Yes, sir.
In today's time. Because that was just a forfeit. I don't even know if 10,000 was half of the bet. It could have been just a percentage of it. It's like a lot of times let's say I match for $1,000. Sometimes, especially if I knew the people, forfeit's a couple $100. That's all. You're gonna show up. I'm gonna show up. That's just to cover it if you're overweight a little bit or something. You know. So that happened quite often too. It wasn't always half the bet. So, you know, you look at it. I kind of looked at, well, if it pays for my feed during the keep, $200-$300, that's good. Even if I'm betting 1,000 or 1,500, if it's 1,500, I'll go with the $500 forfeit. If I know you, you know, if we've done it before, never had a problem. Honorable people.
Honestly,
yes,
if I put myself back in that time period, you know, back in the 60s or 70s, I really wouldn't have wanted to bet nothing super crazy like that, because I feel like I would never wanted to bet nothing that I can't afford to lose, you know?
That's how my father taught me. Never bet more than you can afford to lose.
Also,
and most of the people, not all of them, because even people back then, 30s, 40s, 50s, they had a lot of money. But most of them just working class people.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't have a lot of money to bet because you have family, you have house payment, you got responsibility, bills, all that stuff. When you get the bad element, then it's wide open, and sometimes that creates problems. But most of them did bet. I bet as low as $200 and as much as 5,000. So it ain't really the money. You know, I never went over 5,000, which to me, that was a lot of money in the early 90s, right? And I've won that much and I've lost that much. But I bet as low as $200. But one of my earliest matches was against a 4-time winner, and I was using the first time up dog, was $200, and I lost. A 3-time winner, she was a 4-time winner after she beat me. And speaking about, you know, dogs, sometimes they jump the pit. I've seen that more than once. In fact, it happened to me, the match I just mentioned. For some reason, I don't know what was going on. It was still kind of even. Their bitch let go, and she walked over to the corner, a neutral corner, and she put her feet up on the wall like she was going to jump out. But there were people sitting all around there, so maybe in her mind, there was no way out, right? If she had done that, I'd have won. My bitch grabbed her, got her back into it, and then they ended up winning. I lost. So I was like, man, I wish I should have said, get the hell out of the way so she can leave, you know, something like that. And then another time, it was a chainsaw. He brought a little dog named Magnum, was a 1-time winner. So he was an experienced dog. But when you brought him in and faced him up in the corner, the dog looked freaked out, right? There was a lot of people, bright lights. He looked freaked out. So when the ref said, release your dog, he cut him loose, and the dog turned around, went behind him, put his feet up like he was going to jump out. Shorty, his opponent, was a white dog. He ran over, grabbed Magnum by the stifle, and yanked him back in. And that match went 2 hours and 40 minutes, and Magnum ended up winning. The dog that looked like he was going to jump out ended up winning. So again, there's all kinds of scenarios that play out, you know. Anything from a freak accident where they hit a bleeder or something happens to dogs winning and then they suddenly let go and leave, just walk away and run away and jump out, take off. They're flesh and blood. You never know what's going through their head. You just try and do the best you can. Bond with your animal. And, what was something about that article, the guy said, the dog quit, the way Jeep was acting, Crenshaw got him back into it, talked to him nice or whatever he did, where someone else might be mad or yell at the dog or talk negative to him. I've seen that happen. Saying negative shit to your dog, that don't help them. So that part was accurate for sure. That don't do nobody no good. And I've seen people talk to their dogs, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are you acting that way? Like, I don't know if the dog understands it or not, but I know whatever vibe you give off, that dog picks up on it. He can smell it. He can feel it, especially when you handle them. They can feel it in your hands. You feel like you're going to lose, you might lose, because that's the way the dog's going to feel. So you always have to feel like you can win. And where it gets to the point you can't, stop it. Some people don't. I haven't. You learn by your mistakes, and sometimes it's a costly mistake, and it usually costs the dog, not you. It might cost you some money or some pride, but the dog, the one going to suffer. So you learn all this as you go along. If you don't have a mentor, or you don't have the right mentor. But I'm kind of leery of people that say, I wouldn't have done that, or I wouldn't have done this, because everything that when someone says, I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have done this, an experienced dog man has done it and regretted it. And you pick any one of them famous names you see in the mags, in the books, people I interviewed, people that are still alive today, that are 70, 80 years old, that I talk to, and other people talk, they've done it. They've made the mistakes, and they lament years later. It never leaves their mind, and they have to live with it. So I don't know who these people are. I wouldn't have done it. I would have done it this way. No, you wouldn't have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So anybody else want to cover that? Because if not, I'm gonna move on to the next portion of the show. Because Mr. Garcia, I've never seen you get that fired up before.
Yeah,
let me say something too. I'm a Jeep guy. Everybody knows that. One of the things with Jeep is when he had Homer down, he didn't go in to finish him. He worried him. He messed around with him. He dragged him around by his ear and this and that. And that's one of the negatives that can happen within Jeep dogs. Some of them don't have finish. Doesn't mean they ain't game, because that's two separate things. So anybody thinks they're the same thing, it ain't. Prey drive, finish, gameness, they're all different. So I've seen that in some of my Jeep dogs. So what I did was try and cull that part out of it. If you have a Jeep dog that has finish, that's coming from his mama Honey Bunch, which is why that's who I tried to focus on. Honey Bunch, not so much Jeep. So that's one of the negatives about Jeep dogs. They're fast, they're strong, they're intense, they're insane, they're game, they're powerful, but some of them lack finish. And there's grand champions and champions that have that same trait. So in my breeding program, I tried to weed it out as much as I could. But there's negative about any bloodline. It just, people get offended when they say it sometimes. But I would defend, like I defended Jeep and Homer, I would do that with any dog. If I think there's some discrepancies or some untruths or misinformation put forward, even if it was a dog I didn't like, owned by somebody I don't like, that has nothing to do with it. Got to be honest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
I'm sorry to cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, that was it, Mr. Garcia. I'm
okay.
So we got that game we play. We do a cash giveaway each week, identifying a dog. A dog merit. Typically, dogs are not like the most popular or famous dogs, and I want to play the snippet of that, and make sure everybody gets a chance to get a little. It's one thing to watch TV. It's another thing to watch TV and win. You know how many times I watched the like The Price is Right, and I'm like, man,
I've done the same thing. Or you watch Jeopardy. But if we were to go on them shows, we wouldn't win shit. We'd lose. We'd get all knotted up, tied up. We wouldn't win.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But I'm gonna play the rules for that real quick, and then we're gonna
Yeah, I'll keep my mouth shut.
Let me see if I can find a video.
You might not
Man.
even know one of these dogs, schoolboy.
I
don't
might. Yeah,
know.
I might not. Depend.
It ain't even from America, but we'll see.
Okay.
Tell her no, you
All right.
probably do know, schoolboy.
All right.
Maybe not.
Here's the rules video, guys.
Every Wednesday, we have a portion of the show known as
Name that dog. Yes, sir. We gonna post a picture, and when you see the dog, name that dog accurately and collect your pay.
Now, how we track this is we look at the chat to see who got in the chat first. So don't worry about being missed because we're going to scroll through the chat. If there's a discrepancy, hit us up.
Yes, sir. We will be doing it periodically throughout the show. We might do it at the beginning, might do it at the end. Only way to get it is if you there.
Without further ado, here is Name That Dog.
Name that dog. All right, y'all.
Sir.
So I don't know if y'all noticed, but this portion of the show is sponsored by Solo but Connected Kennels. Solo always comes up with some challenging dogs for us. And y'all can tell the nights where I come up with the dogs because they're super easy. But Solo goes out of his way to find some stuff that's a little bit more difficult. This first dog is a champion. And I'll put it up on the screen for y'all. This is a really, really heavy black and tan dog right here. Ram said recoil. Hell no, Ram. Hey, this motherfucker. And of course, y'all, I'm gonna start going through the pedigree, starting with the 4th generation and working our way back down. MKM bottom says Saki. All right. So I can see right now, looking at this 4th generation, where that black and tan comes from. And you guys feel free to give commentary, but just let me run down the 4th generation, and then we'll give commentary and give everybody a chance. So it's a Patrick's Tombstone, one-time winner, producer record, registered merit, to Patrick's Red Baby, producer record, registered merit, to Patrick's Tattoo, Jim, and Patrick's Ruby. This is then on top of Chavis Yellow John, 4-time winner, POR Rom, to Tance Miss Jocko, 2-time winner, Rom, and POR. Next, you have Grand Champion STP's Buck, 7-time winner, POR, Rom. To Champion Pains, Scooter Red. Next, you have Indian Mister and Frank's Kenya. Matlock's Rocky and Indians Bad Day. And then you have, I don't know how to pronounce this exactly, it's Garlunas Django, 1-time winner, 1-time loser. To Golez Tina. And then you have Stevens Black King, 2-time winner, registered merit. To go, this is definitely a Russian kennel right here, and it's Coons Inca. Hey, hold on.
What? What is it?
Courtney G59. Courtney G59 with the win already. Yeah, man. This dog is Mickey Mouse. Courtney G59, to get your payout, contact me on Instagram or Facebook, and I utilize Cash App to cash. This is a $10 dog, $10 question.
Yes,
that was
sir.
fast.
Quick, fast.
Yeah.
So it's champion Mickey Mouse.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey,
Salute, Courtney.
Look at the face. You know, Mickey Mouse got the tan. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Got that widow's peak like that. Yeah. Mickey Mouse is Sorrel's dog.
Yes, sir. Hey, so I got another thing, Mr. Garcia, I started doing with the food of the week. We're doing orange foods this week. I think last week we did sweet potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and play that clip while I'm waiting for that brother to contact me. And then I also want you guys to talk about how you would incorporate this food into a keep or into your diet if you're going to use it. Here's the clip.
Pumpkin is a superfood for dogs. It contains essential micronutrients and fiber that make it a very nutritious treat. Besides being a natural stomach soother, pumpkin also helps to remove excess water in a dog's digestive tract. Pet owners have relied on pumpkin for a long time to reduce instances of diarrhea, as well as constipation in their dogs. This means it's good to know how to prepare and serve pumpkin to your pet. Pumpkin is a delicious addition to a human diet, but it also has a number of health benefits for your dog. Pumpkin is a natural dewormer. It also can help maintain your dog's weight.
Man, hey Dre,
Yo,
hey, you a fool, man. You a
what
fool
you
with
mean?
that. Hey, man, you edit. Hey, man, your editing skills, you got that. You get that. If y'all only knew, man.
Yeah, that was 5 minutes of video. We edited down to 40 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Hey, listen, hey, nigga, hey, ASAP, the professionals, I don't know what talking about them pumpkins up there, yo.
Yeah.
Hey, man. When we got off there, I said, "Hey, Dre, my bad. I'd have got your work cut out for you, huh?" Yeah,
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
people that use that to actually to cut a dog's weight down,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And it's got a lot of carbs in it, so for energy, and it's got vitamins and minerals in it. It's good stuff. It's similar to sweet potato or
yeah,
yams. They all three different. Some people think
yeah,
yams and sweet potatoes are the same thing. They're not. They're different. But yeah, I know people use that if their dogs are heavy. You know, they'll give them
yeah.
uh, more pumpkin than other nutrients to cut their dog's weight in a short amount of time. And some
Man,
people
well,
incorporate it in their daily feed, in their keep.
yeah, with a little bit of apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, that too. They use that to cut a dog's weight too.
They even got
Just
kibble
I
that
would
got
I would use
got
if
that
I
in
was
it.
going to use vinegar, it would be apple cider vinegar, but I wouldn't use a lot of it. It's got a lot of
Nah,
acid in it, you know. But maybe a teaspoon a day or table, whatever it is. I wouldn't give too much for any length of
y'all
time.
telling too much. Stop. Because look, I'm gonna stop y'all since y'all already put that out there. Every time when I'm doing a keep before the workout, Scuba, I think you taught me this last year. Every time before I do the
Okay.
workout, I got a syringe, and I'm not gonna tell you how much I put in the syringe. It's not much, but it's a fat burner
hmm
for the exercise. And obviously, like you said with the acid, I put some probiotic in there on the back end to help recoat that stomach, man, and make sure there's
There
it's
you go.
pushing it out. But yeah,
There you go.
y'all stop telling everything. Come on, man. Like
Well, you know what's funny about that is, I'm being accused of giving secrets, right? And especially with nutrition, it's all out there for anybody to find. Some people have told
Yeah,
me, "Yeah, I know I could look it up, Scuba, but I'd rather hear you say it. I want to hear you talk."
yeah.
So there's that. But
Wait,
but
yeah,
the stuff is, it's out there. It's just a matter of finding a complete diet, a good diet, and then figuring out what amounts of each ingredient you're going to use. And the only way to do that is practice. But if you get, a certain amount of protein, certain amount of fat, little bit of carbs, vitamins, minerals, trace elements, probiotics, berries for non-toxic shit, or even, activated chocolate. They have all kinds of spirulina, all this stuff, ginseng or what, it's just become educated on the effects of them and practice with it. And if I never had any devices to check anything. Couldn't check their blood, couldn't check their stool, couldn't check their urine. So I did it by eye. And you check their gums, you check their eyes, you check their nose, you look at their urine, you look at their stool, you look at, if they empty out on a regular basis, piss on a regular basis, and you put it all together and how the dog acts and feels and his gait, all this stuff, put it together. And because that's how everything was done in the past, anyways. Not to say that all the new science and all these new devices help. They help. They'll give you, if you can do blood work, it gives you an accurate blood count. And then you have to learn what is a good blood count, because believe me, that it ranges depending on who the person is and the time of year and the weather and the humidity, all this stuff. that's the feedback I get. It depends. They might say, I like it here and there, but if you're at higher elevation, you want it here, and lower, at sea level, you want it here. And if it's humid or hot and dry or middle of summer, middle of winter, it all depends. So that's why I say you have to practice, and you can simulate some of the atmosphere and see how your dog reacts in that atmosphere. For instance, let's say where you get it never gets that hot. But if you take your dog in the garage and you set up your treadmill and you don't have any air coming in, you close everything off, or you make it hot, it could be 80, 90 degrees in there, even though it's 70 degrees outside. You can raise the temperature, work your dog on the mill, see how it reacts. You want to see how he reacts in the humidity and it's dry and hot where you're at? Do the same thing. Put it in the garage and put a humidifier in there. Spray water all around. Make moisture in that air and see how he acts. And if you do that over a period of time, your dog can become accustomed to these different atmospheres, even though you don't live in those places. That's kind of what I did with my dogs. It was the heat where I live was dry, but I didn't realize this till later, but I used to spray the ground 3 or 4 times a day during the summertime. And what it did at the time, without me noticing it, was it created humidity as it evaporated into the air. With my dogs running around, jumping around. So they became acclimated to the humidity. So, it just a matter of practice, test everything. And then you got to do it with each dog. And, there's a lot that are similar within a family of dogs, but sometimes dogs are different. This one, it even comes down to some dogs were better traveling than others. There's some dogs I wouldn't leave the general area within a half hour or 2 hours from my house. Other ones I could take them 8, 9 hours and it didn't bother them.
So a buddy of mine, Tried and True Kennel, was talking about another tip you gave, just like that one, Mr. Garcia, and it was the tip about the vapor rub. And I'll tell you right now, I know from experience it works. And if I used a little bit more of it, I probably came in first place in my last slap mill race.
Yeah, it helps. It helps, and you can also use, because that's what we used back in the day. But a friend told me what he used was that spray thing you stick in the antihistamine, whatever it is.
Yeah,
you ever seen them? They kind of the same thing. That's what he used. Just give them a shot in their nose, right before.
Yes, sir.
And some people have done some negative stuff. I know some people put meth up their rectum and shit. You do all kinds of stuff. Some of it ain't good, man.
Yeah.
So I know about the enema, giving them an enema sometimes to empty them out, to help them empty out. That's something I didn't even know. That was an old head of mine. Wakanda told me about that. But
you can do that, but the enema has a tendency to dehydrate them too.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with that. And depends on when you do it, how soon. I would suggest just try and get your dog regular. Empty out the same time every day. And what mistake some people make is, let's say you're traveling to a show or something, they'll change the routine of the dog because they're on the road or they're not settled in yet or something like that. So that last week is where most people screw up, myself included. That's why I learned how not to screw it up. Or that's how I learned not to screw up. Because you'll change it now. You change the time when the dog emptied out, and it'll throw them off. And it has some kind of effect. Like if they're ready to go and the dog won't shit in his kennel, he just holds it and holds it and holds it. By the time you get there, which is after the time he would have normally emptied, now he won't empty for some reason.
Yeah, dog is a creature of habit. Even if you walk them at the same time or work them at the same time every day,
all that,
they're going to be ready at that time.
At that time.
They'll let you know they're ready.
Yeah, it's an internal clock. That's part of the peaking process too, man. They'll be jumping the walls when they're peaking, man. They're unwound, and that's another thing I advise people: don't mess with them that last day, man. Leave them alone. Don't even look at them, because every time you do something different like that, take them out 2, 3, 4 times a day, the last day, or you in there checking on them and checking on them, it gets them amped up, and you're throwing away your peak. They're using their energy up. Even Mr. Gray said, I think in our last interview, he didn't even walk his dogs out the last walk. He picked them up, carried them out, set them down, stood right there, let them piss and shit, picked them up and carried back in the crate, put them up, covered the crate, and got the hell out of there. So he didn't even want them walking 100 feet to empty out. All that stuff matters. It can matter. So for me, some people, they'll take their dog out every 2 hours. They're weighing them and see where they're at and this and that. I didn't do none of that. I tried not to change anything. I knew where their weight was. I knew where it was going to be pretty accurately. When it was time to empty them out before the show, I took them out, emptied them out, put them back up, ready to go. 10, 15 minutes, we're good to go.
Yes, sir. Hey, so I want to give a shout out to, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to let y'all know who's all watching from Instagram, because Down by Law, APBT, said they're definitely going to add that to their show diet. Poppy China, Chop Pitbull, Kevin Fuller, The Real DC Pits, Pro Pool, Live on the Nile, Cash Out Kennels, 4-Time Bully Camp, Hot Boy Relly, Guardian of the Hive, Nate Hardy, Down by Law again, and then Shishi. They're also watching on Instagram with us, brothers. And I don't always get to their comments because their comments don't populate in the chat where y'all can see them. But best believe, like, a lot of people are learning and are gaining experience from this. And then let me go ahead and give some shout outs to some brothers that's doing some amazing work right here. Hemi James with a 5-piece tip.
Hey.
Yes, sir. And then brother
Hemi James.
Brother Hemi James with the 9 months of membership, man. He done had a whole baby on us, man. Tip.
Man.
Hey.
He's good. He's good people, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. We appreciate y'all, man.
We
really do.
My daughter was telling me about that membership thing. Maybe
Schoolboy,
do it. I don't know.
Schoolboy, you have to get
What's
them.
that?
Because you have to get them and I tell any channel this, the membership is a consistent way for people who support you. It's like, instead of them like randomly just hitting you with a super chat, I'd rather my members not super chat at all, just do the membership thing, because what happens is it all comes into the account at the same time. And they take less of a percentage of memberships than they do of super chats. So the membership acts as a bigger contributor to the channel than a super chat is.
And what do? You go on there once a week or what?
So a membership is a monthly fee, and you can make it tierable. So a lot of times what we'll do is, like, a baseline member. For me, my members, I do discounts for any membership level, and members can enter the dog show for free. Also, if you're on a channel that's like a partner channel, like Fat Bill or your channel, if they get a membership with you and they show me a screenshot, I'll let them enter the dog show for free as well. It's not about me getting the money, but it's about us aggregating the funds in the community. So as long as you're supporting the community, I got mad love for you. And so, like, let that be a way to boost it, because Schoolboy, what happens is Cash Apps are the most effective way to support your content creators. Cash App, because all the money goes to the content creator. But second is the membership. It's a recurring thing that just pays every month. And in order to get paid out on YouTube, we have to accumulate at least $100 per month in funds raised by YouTube. So the membership with 15 members, right? I think my minimum is like $5. With the $5 membership, and I got 15 of those, that's like $75 toward my $100 cash out at the end of the month. And that allows me to put the money back into the circuit, so I can do these little fun shows and all that stuff, or even support the other channels. Yes, sir.
Right, gotcha. I have my daughter I have School Baby look into it. I don't know none of that stuff. She'll have to help me.
See, but that's why we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. We haven't even gotten to the generational thing, Schoolboy, but you got us young bucks. We can't tell you about dogs. We can tell you about technology.
Yeah. Yep, and you know, I can get at least some current information from them, you know, and a lot of the science and a lot of the terminology and maybe even some of the results they got, you know, even on other channels that I've been on that are not pit bull ones, you know, there's a lot of similarities between the two, and it's just it's funny how uh the negative things that are mentioned along with the positive things, it's the same across the board. It's just a different breed of dog, or even game fowl, or horse racing. It's the same shit we talk about. So, you know, pit bull people don't think that we're the only ones that go through all this mess. Everybody else does too. And I noticed that back in the day about, you know, things like culling and standards and all that. The show dog people were a lot harder on their dogs than we ever were with our dogs. Even though back then we were fighting them, they weren't fighting them. But their standards were so high as far as structure had to be perfect, color had to be perfect. All that. They culled a lot more dogs than we did.
Hey, so
and
Scuba,
they're
I got
just
a direct question for you.
And I don't mean pit bull. I don't mean pit bull show dog people. I mean other breeds, German shepherds and bull terriers and pugs and all that shit. They were a lot harder as far as culling their dogs than we were.
Yeah, because a singular fault would make it not breed quality. For them,
and you can't show it, can't breed it. So
Schoolboy, I got a direct question for you from brother Eli Monster.
Yeah.
He says,
Eli,
Schoolboy,
they're good people,
what
man.
do you think about an enema after the hunt if they don't empty out for a while?
Yeah, then I would say yeah. And also, you know, sometimes we would use, you know, they won't piss either. So it was good to have a little bit of Lasix for that reason too. So you want them to piss, and if they didn't empty before the show or during the show, then you damn sure want them to empty right after the show, when they settle down. If they don't, yeah, I would give them an enema. And then maybe after giving them an enema, I would shoot some lactated ringers up their rectum too, just to try to replenish them after the show. You're going to give them an IV if you can. If you can't, you're going to give them under the skin. And I know people to give it to them in an enema too. But yeah, I would say that'd be a good thing to do. If they haven't emptied out, yeah. Because it'll, you know, if it sits in there, it rots and poisons the animal, just like piss does. It'll poison the dog. So you want them to get rid of that. But we use Lasix for the urine.
Yes, sir. Hey, so while I got y'all, on behalf of Schoolboy, we're gonna make this next one a $15 dog for Name That Dog. And for those of y'all who weren't here earlier, simple as that. Name the dog first in the chat, get cash out. Courtney 659, make sure you check your dad and make sure you get that cash app. Also, salute to all the ladies in the chat that are supporting us. But without further ado, here is the next Name That Dog. This dog is a champion. And of course, this dog is from overseas. So I'm gonna start reading the lineage behind this dog off relatively quickly for you guys, because I want to give y'all the best opportunity to compete. Ram, it is not recoil, but I appreciate the I appreciate that.
One of these days when Ram ain't on here, put up recoil.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. All right. Good night, Mrs. McFarland, and salute to you.
Yeah. Good night. Good night. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, y'all. Hey, so this dog is bred off some dogs y'all familiar with. I like this cross. Check this out, y'all. So it's Garner's Frisco to Garner's Cami, Garner's Frisco to Garner's Espresso, Garner's Frisco to Garner's Cami, and Garner's Frisco to Garner's Charlie Girl. Now check this out. This is what it's on top of, and I really like this cross. Grand champion, Southern Kennels Mayday, 5-time winner, dog of the year, 1996, producer of record, registered married. To Southern Kennels Diana. And then Mayday again to Diana again. So it's a littermate breeding right here. And then it's Grand champion, True Bloods, Sir Thomas, 7-time winner, producer of record. To Sigmersons, was that Grassner, 1-time winner. To Grand champion, True Bloods, Thomas again. To Hafiz Carla. All right, y'all. Moving into the third, because this is gonna be difficult. I'm gonna have to get y'all to the parents so y'all can look up the pet for yourself. It's TTK's Scar Ram to Garner's Lisa Ram, and then it's TTK Scar to Garner's Zena, 2-time winner, 1-time dead game, registered married. On top of Southern Kennels Blackface to Southern Kennels Whiteface. Then you got Grand Champion Sedinson's Gritler, 5-time winner, dog of the year, 2003, registered married. To Sedinson's Molly B, 1-time winner, 1-time loser, Gamiston Show, and registered married. Second gen champion Kudu Kennel, 44 Briscoe, 3-time winner, 1-time loser, and a producer of record. The champion Kudu's Zena, the second, 3-time winner. Silver Dollar and Kudu's Zippo Rom, the Sensons, Moon Shadows, Jade, 1-time winner, 1-time loser game, producer of record. And then finally, for that first generation, you got Kudu and Kitchens, Levi, producer of record, to Moon Shadows, Calypso, 1-time loser game. And for those of y'all who are doing this on a search, you're going to want to search the Pitbull Bible, not online page for this one. All right. And I'll give y'all that damn insider again. Kudu and Kitchens Levi, producer of record. The Moon Shadows Calypso, 1-time loser game.
Nope. That's not it.
Nah, Ram, but you're in the ballpark, Ram.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? So, Schoolboy, let me ask you this about that dog specifically.
Yeah,
I would say this dog is in condition. What's your thoughts just at a glance?
Yep. I would say that's, probably before a show or during the keep, towards the end of the keep. Some people brought them in like that. Some people a little heavier, some people a little thinner.
And the reason I asked you that question is with us having the best condition show, last time a lot of our guys missed on the best condition. Like it was not really the best representation of what a conditioned dog looks like, right? So I just want to give examples. So everybody, what I'm looking at is, that roach back you talk about. Look at those muscles back there on that back end.
Yeah. You see how you see the spine, the little bumps.
Yeah.
On the spine, on the roach back, right along on either side. That's the loin muscle. And then you see up here. Well, you can't see my finger, but where the hips are.
Yeah.
You see that muscle? That muscle. There's muscle on either side of that hip bone.
Yeah.
And then you see the stifle. Of course, you can see the muscle that's facing you. But if you look back on the stifle, you see a little bulge right there.
Yeah.
Right where the black of the tail is. Right. If you look on the stifle right there, see that little bump? That's an indication. The front shoulders, the round muscle, the ball of muscle, and then the strip next to it. The only reason I would say maybe it could be right before a show or even a week or two out is because the loose skin under where the collar is. Where the collar is. See how the skin, like some of them, but it's loose like that. Some of it's real tight. Some of it never goes away all the way. And a lot of them, their neck is real, their throat, where their throat is, it's real tight. And then you can't see here, but on the head, if we're looking above at the top of the head, you would see the two separate skull muscles. On top of the skull, you'd see a split. There'd be a line down the middle, and then 2 muscles on top of their head. But yeah, dog looks good. I would say it's in shape.
Just looking at that dog, it just looked like it can't wait to get the show started.
Yeah.
Pull up,
Yeah.
he ready. I mean, she ready. Ready.
Yeah.
Wait to
Yeah.
get it.
Looks like it. Looks like it. It depends. Sometimes they're looking at something. Sometimes they don't have to be nothing there, and they just at the end of their lead, and just sometimes they're looking at something. They see something. It could be another dog. It could be a flea in the ground. It could be a feather or a leaf floating around. It's just they want to get at something, so anything piques their interest. They just want to grab something. And that's a good sign, especially if it's right before the show. They're just so focused and so amped up that you have to control that, because they'll burn themselves out if you don't.
Yeah. And this dog is not just a 4-time winner, but it's a 4-time winner best in show. Look at Ram. Ram, even if you win, I'm not paying you.
Is that now that bottom side? I don't want to mess it up. I don't know. I don't know what the breeding is. That bottom side, is that South African breeding, or is that European breeding on the bottom?
It's South African.
South African, right? Yeah.
That just gave it away. Gave it away.
Yeah.
Well,
the
top. The top side is Garner, but I don't know what dog that is. I just know True Blood, and what was the other name you used? Those guys are from South Africa.
It's maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's Stedenson and Moonshadow.
No, go the name in front, the breeder's name or the owner's name.
Like the Kudus. So you got who else?
Say the names again.
From the bottom side.
Yeah, the bottom side.
Okay, so in the 4th gen, you got Mayday to Diana, Mayday to Diana, True Blood, Sir Thomas to Sigmar.
That and what's the other one?
Sigmarson.
Keep going.
Are the bottom sides for both of those two.
Okay, no, it was a different name. It was True Blood, and then what's in the 3rd generation?
So you got Southern Kennels Blackface, Southern Kennels Whiteface, Grand Champion Seddonson's Grittler, and then Seddonson's
Grittler. There you go. Yeah. It's Grittler. Yeah. Well, I tried to help you guys. See if you get it.
Hey, schoolboy. Let me ask you a question, schoolboy. When historically speaking, as far as conditioning the dog and all that type of stuff, like, can't you relate it kind of to like the paperwork, like far as like what I mean by that, like the activities that you're doing to condition your dog should form your dog's muscles and the tone of the self. That's the work should form the dog. So you shouldn't be just looking, trying to get no lines here, build no stifles here, or cut this up here. You let the work cut your stuff up, and the work will show you once your dog can finish the work at an optimum level. What that package look like is what it is. So it might not look like another dog. You might not have the same type of cuts as another dog. So you can't get caught up in just looking at that. You got to just know if your dog is performing at an optimum level. That's what it looks like. That's what your dog looks like. That's why some dogs don't really look as good as others, but they could be in top condition or even better condition than the other one. It looks better. Would you agree?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You can even see faults within that, right? Where somebody messed up. Let's say one shoulder is bigger than the other shoulder, more developed. You see stifles, like her stifles look good. Sometimes the stifles they're not filled out, and sometimes they're too filled out. They're too round or too big, too bloated, right? It could be something like if they have more of a straight back and not a roach back, it may look like there's no muscle there at all. But that just has to do with the shape of their backbone. Has nothing to do with they're not in condition. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
definitely what you said. It depends. Some dogs don't look. I had one like Howler. He was a 2-time winner. He won in 46 minutes, an hour 15. He lost in 2 hours and 8 minutes. He never had a lot of definition. But if you felt him, he was hard and he was down in weight. He just didn't have that definition through his muscle tone. He just never developed that, but he was hard as a freaking rock anytime you touched him. In fact, when I won with his second, the guy who was washing him said, "Man, your dog feels strong. He's hard as a rock. He don't look like nothing." I said, "Yeah, that's the way his body is. He just built that way. He don't never get no definition, but he works
Uh-huh.
good, you know."
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
A lot of
Some dogs
people
look skinny.
don't know that. A lot of people don't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's
This
true.
is like
No,
that's
that's
just like
a
that's just
good
like
point.
that's just like you got bodybuilders and you got athletes that really perform the sport and stuff. Their muscles gonna be different. Like a bodybuilder gonna be his muscles might look real defined and all that, but it's not functionable. Not
Yeah,
functionable
he's
like you
not.
need it.
Yeah. Generally, a
And
power lifter don't look like a bodybuilder. They don't look that way. They're thick and more bulkier. They don't have that definition. Where a bodybuilder, they're looking at definition, all their muscles, but they couldn't
right,
lift as much as a power lifter could,
right.
or
And just like
even you look at some long distance runners. Some of
uh
them are fit. You see their muscle tone depending. But you look at the Africans from Ethiopia, they just look like little spindly, skinny. You could see their muscles, and them guys dominate. 400-meter and mile and marathon and all that stuff.
uh
And so yeah, it just
it's,
depends on
it's just like
the particular dog.
you could have a Tom Brady body and be a killer.
Yeah, yeah. Or even I don't know if people are familiar with Danny Little Red Lopez. He was a featherweight champion. He had no tone to his body. He was a spindly, skinny arm, and he was a knockout artist. He didn't even look like he had muscle. And then
Yes,
you look at
sir.
Marvin Hagler. He's got sinews on his chest, and every rib you could see his wings and all that stuff, and by his neck, and then you see Tyson, big old thick neck and bulky kind of. So yeah, it
Uh
depends. It
huh.
depends on the type of work you do and the type of how the dog performs.
And speaking of athletes and comparing them to dogs and whatnot, man, when you were talking about you know, you know, the guy who picking his dog up and taking him out to the yard, wouldn't let him walk, just letting him empty out or whatnot. McCaffrey, his pops and starting from high school, on game day, his pops wouldn't let him do the pep rally, wouldn't let him run, wouldn't let him do any warm ups. He couldn't do anything. He had to, he couldn't. He had to be, just reserved the
Yeah,
entire
relax.
time. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, until the game. But
right.
but to be so young and have that, a mentor who knows that, kind of like a handler to a dog, knowing
Right.
you need to reserve yourself. He learned that at a young age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
yeah,
that's a good point because he knew that let's say he don't do nothing but nap all day and rest all
yeah,
day and just kick back all day,
yeah,
listen to mellow music, this and that, right? When he gets to the
yeah,
stadium, they're gonna warm up. They're gonna warm up,
yeah,
so he's not wasting any reserve energy. He's going to get
yeah.
there in time to warm up and loosen up and stretch and all that. He's good to go, and he can play
And
all
not
4 quarters if he needs to,
and
where
not
he didn't
only
leave
that,
some of it at home.
yeah, and not only that, a lot of depending on the size of the high school and what you got going on. I know his high school was, I think, a 5A or whatnot, but you got your pep rally. You know, you
Right.
running out on the you running out, you doing all types of stuff, you know, introducing
Because
yourself, everybody hype.
yeah,
e-
there you go,
exhausting energy right there. You know, I never
right
thought
there.
about things like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, if you think about it this way, what led to Larry Bird retiring from basketball? It really wasn't
what
his age. He
what?
heard he was moving furniture, or he was doing something helping his mom,
Oh yeah,
and he,
yeah,
and he,
yeah,
and he hurt his back.
yeah,
Right, he hurt his back, and he never was the same after that. He still played, but he didn't go too long before he
yeah.
retired. Just
Yep.
things like that,
Yeah, because
right?
I remember when they had the dream team. The only reason that they could get Larry to come out was to be part of the dream team was to tell him, hey man, all you got to do is just take a couple shots and you can sit on the bench. We just need
Yeah,
you, you know what I'm saying, to be part
yeah,
because
yeah,
his
yeah,
back was. I remember, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And he could shoot, and it didn't matter where he was at. He get some points in, and then boom, you're good to go.
yeah,
You know that that happens. So I was always conscious of that after I learned not to mess with them. And one of the things, actually, it came from Howard Heinzel. One time we were talking about that, and he told some kid, he said something to the effect of, don't touch your dog. Stop touching your dog. Leave him alone. Because
yeah,
you have a tendency to mess with them or check on them, touch them, go in there and all that. That's kind of
yeah,
where I first heard something like that, was from Howard Heinz. Stop touching the damn dog.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, I want to say something real quick, man. Schoolboy, I'm so glad you didn't say what caused Magic Johnson to retire.
Well,
Yeah,
it's a testament that he's still alive. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
he
Cause
they can
I
look that up.
remember.
I guess whoever don't know
Yeah,
that don't watch basketball too much.
yeah. But I remember when
That's in
nobody wanted to
2000s,
play
baby. If I
with him.
don't know that, you got to be born in
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 2000.
Well,
I
do you
remember when
remember? Do you
nobody wanted
remember?
to play with him.
Yeah, I can't blame him, especially at that time. Do you remember Tommy Morrison? That's what
Yeah,
he died of.
yeah,
That's what he died of. And I don't know where he got it, but that's what killed him. That's why he had to leave boxing, and they couldn't do nothing for him, and he died real young because of that.
yep. I
Same
remember.
thing,
They
Magic
they thought
Johnson.
it was something else. They thought it was something else. I can't remember what they thought it was. Yeah,
They say Magic. They say Magic. They stopped checking Magic at practices. The youngest wasn't even gonna check him no more. He started going to the hole. The lane just opened
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
he just quit, man. Motherfuckers wasn't checking him or
yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, you got to
Well,
think
Tommy
about it, man.
Morrison, they
What if
thought
you
it was,
scratch me? What if you sweat on me? What if
yeah,
somebody
like
hack
that.
you or something? You get
yeah,
cut and you bleed on me? Hell
Yeah,
no. Especially
yeah,
back
like
then.
that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The same thing with
yeah,
Greg Louganis. You know, they let him compete, and then on one of his dives, he hit the back of his head and started bleeding, and it freaked people out, man.
yeah.
And
Hey,
with
y'all,
Tommy Morrison, they thought it was hepatitis first.
we got GHK in the mother loving building. What's good, big dog?
Hey,
Hey, what up? What
Salute,
up?
What's happening?
salute.
was
Big shout out to the panel. Big shout out to Samurai. Big shout out to the chat. Hey, I wanted to just
yeah,
drop in because I see I was listening to the Schoolboy and I seen him mention that leave the dogs alone, you know, show night, or at least see we used to do the night before the show, that dog wouldn't see nothing. But to get out, do the same routine, get out, take a piss, back in the cage. And you remember the first pit bull we ever seen was at James Edwards Yard, and we always tell y'all about this dog that we seen had that big ass collar on his neck, back in this little shed, cover all over it. Never understood that, but man, I never forgot that, and I understood it as we got better, and even in the end, that is so damn important because the dog get used to doing the same thing And that one day that he's not doing anything. I mean, dogs get excited when you're working them. They know what time it is to put in that work. They know what time it is when they come to laying down, and that next morning, everything became a routine. But you break that cycle on that time to where he doesn't do anything. Their anxiety be so high that they'll hear a dog and get ready to lose it. That is so important because when they say release the dogs, trust me, the dog gonna be in full go. And you don't want no distractions away from that. I mean, our dogs used to be calm as hell during wash. And lead a wash, go right back and be in that cage until time. The minute that dog see that pit or hear that other dog, man, the anxiety be on straight nuts. And I hear Schoolboy speaking on that because it is so damn important because the dog has this anxiety buildup that when they release it, oh, it's beautiful. That's all.
You're right. That nervous energy or anxiety, they'll sometimes they'll shake and shiver, and especially during the last week, even the last 3 days. That's what helps them come down in weight too.
Yeah. And they well rested at that point in time because all the work done decreased.
Find out part of it is that anxiety where they come down to weight. And if you interfere with that, it could throw them off. Not only that, what Mr. Gray was talking about, it happened to a friend of mine. You walk the dog out, right? We're in Mexico. And I went with my friend. It was a 31.5-hour drive. We drove straight through, got there, right? So before the show, he's walking the male out. He had 2 males and a female. Walking the male out, fine. We get to the show, and as the show's going on, the dog started shitting little pieces of metal and rocks.
Damn.
Right? I don't know where he picked it up, when he picked it up, whether it was the day before, whether it happened at home or what. But that may be the extreme of something that can happen. But it's happened. Or you hear people go, well, afterwards, my dog threw up a piece of rubber or plastic or, a piece of leather or something. Where did they get it? So if you don't control that whole situation, and that's why I say the last week is where most people screw up. Almost anything can happen. I've seen a lot of different negative stuff happen. Fortunately, I never really had my dogs eat something, but I've had where I didn't stick to the routine and it threw them off, So that's a good point, Mike. How you been, brother?
There's something else I didn't hear you mention, Schoolboy, is the rub downs. The rub downs, man, it's not just to make the dog feel good, but when you're putting so much work into a dog's muscles. See, a dog's muscles is just like your human being's muscles. You're tearing the muscle down, and it's healing itself by building up. And if you don't keep that muscle rubbed down, you get them knots, and them knots they lead to the blood flow, the blood restriction. Sometimes when the dog gets sore, it can't tell you it's sore. You have to be able to keep that part in mind like a human being. When your body's sore, what do? Do you stop working? Well, dog, we don't have time to stop working. So we always have to prepare and think for the dog, knowing we putting in the work, knowing, in that cool down period, and before they eat, they're going to get that good rub down to loosen them up. And then sometimes when we notice that they're a little sluggish, hey, they're going to hit that water. That water loosens them up because now they got to use every muscle in their body. And that water actually helps the circulation to help those muscles heal faster. So that's something else I didn't hear you guys mention, but I think that rub down and being able to understand that same thing we do to the human body and how we have to recover, you have to keep that in mind in your keep while you're putting the dog through the things you're putting them through.
Yep, a good point. You're getting rid of the lactic acid buildup.
That's right.
When you rub that pressure, and you shouldn't put a lot of pressure on it. You shouldn't squeeze hard or nothing like that.
It's just a rub.
That pressure, it brings the blood to that area, so it helps the blood flow. Also, like you were saying, a lot of times they don't tell you when there's a problem. If they have a pulled muscle, if they had a tendon problem or a joint problem, when you're rubbing them down like that, the dog will wince or it'll pull away or it'll lift his leg. You might have a problem in that area that you're rubbing. Because once a dog gets accustomed to the rub, you can rub everything. And I used to rub everything except their private area. I'm talking belly, back, tail, toes, stifle, all their joints, neck, head, ears, face, jaw, everything. I rubbed everything down, and I had a particular way of doing it. And if there's a problem when you touch that area, or sometimes you stretch the leg out or you rub an area, they'll react to it. That lets you know there's a problem too. So, yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of benefits to the rub down, and I know people that never rub their dog down. They didn't see the benefit of it, but I would tell them, well, did you ever try it and see if there was? No, they don't need no rub down. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
Why does every other athlete, human, horse, game fowl, dog, whatever, why do they rub them down if it has no benefit to it? They do it with horses. They put them in the water. They rub them down all over their body. They lift their legs because part of it so they don't be spooky, so you can handle them, and they're used to crowds and all that stuff. And some of them, they're still jittery, but there's benefit. You'll see them put them in the swim tank, and do all kinds of stuff with them. So it's necessary I couldn't see not doing it.
I totally agree.
How you been, Mike?
Been doing pretty good, man. Just pretty good.
Yeah. We did that interview, me and Mo, man. We got a lot of good responses, man. He let them have it, and it was good. So I appreciate that.
Anytime you two get in the same room, it's like two professors, and it's like
Yeah.
You can't get knowledge between y'all two. I don't know what what to say.
Yeah, no, you're right. Most of the time during that interview, I just shut up, let him talk. I want to hear what he had to say. He threw some good stuff out there, man, and the people responded in kind.
Hey, so everybody on the panel and in the chat, I got a clip I want to play, and then I'm Brother Mike. I'm glad I got you, Schoolboy, and all the brothers here, because we're going to start breaking down the decades and talking about our decades for the dogs, and just there's a lot that goes into it, and I want to talk about the psyche behind it, because from a military standpoint, Brother Mike, you're probably the only one that's going to really know the military side of it from the actual active side of it, but the military is a microcosm of what's going on the outside, and you can see every generation gets wiser. I ain't gonna say wiser, but it's supposed to get wiser and weaker, and I want to explain that. But I got a clip from one of the brothers in the chat I'm going to share with y'all, and then we're gonna get right into breaking down the generations of each of our decades for the show. But here's the clip I wanted y'all to see.
He hit him where he's supposed to hit him, though.
Okay, now let me give y'all the why behind that clip. All right, when I was a kid, I never really heard dogmen from where I'm from talk about the hog hunting scene, and so I'm gonna give y'all my snippet because it's the shortest one, and then I'm gonna let y'all brothers go ahead and cook, and also the chat. I'm gonna continue to post the link because there's a lot that our generations don't understand about each other. And I think it's a fallacy for us younger guys to not connect with the older guys, but I'll break it down from my perspective. And this perspective is also geographically restricted as well. Okay, those of y'all that know me, I was born in Lumberton, North Carolina. I grew up in Bladenboro, North Carolina, born in 1990. So I would say my earliest memories that were like significant events were like the passing of Biggie and Tupac, the rise of the flip cell phone, the Razor, the Crazer, the Y2K scare, 9/11, the death of Aaliyah, Left Eye, the introduction of the pit bull into the mainstream as far as the rappers having it in their videos, and then also watching the rise of the bully come up and get misconstrued. My generation allowed that to happen, right? That was on our watch. And so some of the things that I wanted to just share with the older brothers and kind of get y'all's perspective on, and why I wanted to share this tonight was with the hog dog and all that stuff. That's a little bit newer to me. It may not be newer to y'all, but this is the biggest issue or the biggest thing I want to share about my generation that I think we do not articulate well. We're just very emotional about it. We come from the first generation where everybody wins. We come from the first generation of social media, and there was this thing in the early 2000s called netiquette. Netiquette was the language, or supposed to be the courtesies given online. You know, there are certain things you didn't ask. You didn't post age, sex, or location unless you knew the person. These are things that we were raised into and kind of indoctrinated into in our lifetime, whereas you guys can remember a time before that. And with my first endeavors into the pit bull terrier, being my grandfather and working as a lookout boy for a local moonshiner, I remember the Nextel chirping, and I also remember the fall of the drug dealer, the big time drug dealer. And what I mean by that is, as I watched social media rise, MySpace, Facebook, even AOL Online, when everything started going social media, people started getting busted and prolifically busted, right? And a lot of the generations before then, I don't know about it, but even the prolific bust just didn't make the scene the way they make them today. Another thing is what my generation was the introduction of going viral. You can go viral and be a nobody in my generation. So what happens is we compete for clout a lot. Now, the last thing I will say is my generation is also the suicide generation, because when I was in high school, I would say it was the last generation where you could get in a fight and the next week somebody else would get in a fight or get embarrassed and it was over. But now your embarrassment level will push a lot of these kids to suicide because it lives on forever. The internet doesn't lose anything. So I would say we have a lot of existential environmental factors that affect us. Now, when it comes to the Bulldogs, we also have the mentality of whether it be gang, drugs, school, military. My generation does not follow tradition very well. We are very notorious for saying, hey, I don't like that. We're going to just change it. Fuck the old shit. We're notorious for that, right? And I wanted to share my perspective with you because those are not my views, but I see it consistently, right? And with the Shogun Army and the Neo Dogman movement, I need y'all to kind of bridge the gap tonight, because there's certain things. I'll give you an example. Growing up where I grew up in the country, I could leave my door unlocked, right? But when I would go to Southeast DC to visit my family, that was a different world for me. Okay? And I say that and I'm going to shut up and I'm pass the mic.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, one of the first things you said about, everybody's a winner, or, they started teaching these kids to play sports, but there's no score. They don't keep score, right? And they say, well, winning doesn't matter. So our answer to that was, well, if winning doesn't matter, why do they keep score? If you don't keep score, you can't even play horse, with basketball. Nobody wins. People don't like losing, and they don't like the negative connotation that comes with it. But if you're raised properly and you've been in certain situations, you understand that sometimes you're going to lose. That's what makes you stronger. A lot of younger people don't understand it and don't believe it. Another thing is people don't like authority. I don't like authority. Nobody likes authority, but it's necessary. You have to have it. You have to have rules. And whether you like it or not, there are certain things about having morals. And maybe this is a little off topic, but when you start breaking up families, or you don't have a man's influence or even a woman's influence in the home, generally it's the man who's not influenced, because when you break up a home, the kids generally stay with the mom. So now you don't have that father figure. You don't have that head of household anymore. That can destroy the future of young people, because you
Yeah.
need both. You need the softer side of the mom, and you need the harder side of the man. And you got to have good work ethic, and you got to have some type of morals. And even if people know right from wrong, they don't want to follow the rules sometimes. That's not good, in my opinion. So there's a lot to that. There's always been bad elements in the dogs, and there's always been curs in the dogs and bad dogs. No breeders that ain't, everything that's happening today. With the breed. It happened in the past too. Even people writing articles and newspaper shit talking about the cruelty and all that. The only difference is today there's more of it. And when you have youngsters coming up that don't have that direction, and they don't have don't suffer consequences for their actions, and just flat out don't care, that's when things start to go south real quick. And like I said, we're the same way when I was a kid. You get in a fight. Most of the time, people I got in a fight with, we ended up being friends later, because you respect each other for not backing down. And then you start talking, and you get to know you have a lot in common. And, after a while, you don't even remember what you were fighting about. But it happens. It's spur of the moment. Sometimes you start throwing punches, and somebody wins, somebody loses. I've had both happen. So, but a lot of it is a learning experience, and you have to go through these experiences in my opinion, to become a man. And for me, girls should behave a certain way too. That's one of the things I like about my wife and my daughters. They're girls. They're ladies. They don't expose their body in public, and they don't talk a certain way in front of people in public. I'm not saying they don't cuss and all that. They do, but just they know where to do it and when to do it and when not to. They respect their elders, stuff like that. Even if an elder is wrong, sometimes a youngster, they think they got to go kick the elder's ass to prove a point, rather than just walk away. Let them talk, even if they're wrong. If push comes to shove, of course you're going to do something, but they're too quick to pick up a gun or pick up a rock, or usually it's a gun nowadays. It wasn't that common back then, even though sometimes it happened. It's just there's a lot more of it. There's still game dogs around the world. I'm sure they're always going to be. But there's a lot more than ain't, because there's a lot more dogs, and a lot more people breeding that aren't breeders. They just breeding dogs and breeding on paper. And a lot of times they don't do nothing with them. And these so-called breeders don't care. They don't care if the dog has faults, because they know for most part, people are going to take them. They're going to sit on their couch. They're going to be a pet. They're not going to do nothing with them. So if a dog has a fault, so what? We're not going to do nothing with it anyways to expose that. So that's some of my perspective. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I think we're almost in the same generational thing. I graduated in 1979. I was in the Marine Corps in 79. So back then, growing up as a kid, we had a disciplined household. I grew up in a disciplined household. So going into the service was just a little bit different, simply because that discipline was not from your mother and your father. That discipline was coming from another direction. And it was not the kind of discipline where mom and daddy was whooping on your ass. They would always tell you, I'm whooping your ass because I love you. But when the military went to whooping on your ass, it wasn't for the love of nothing but the country and the man next to you. So that took a little bit of adjustments, because you had to accept what came with that ass whooping, and nowadays they don't beat on you like they was beating the shit out of us back then, but I understood the concept. Actually, that concept, it made me a better man, actually, because I knew what it took to take a beating and still be disciplined and try to be the best person I could be. It actually brought something out of me that I think the only way it could have ever been put out of me, and I was taken to a certain level that if it don't be for them, I would have never known what that level felt like. And I took that same attitude and we use it into the dogs. But and then not just with the dogs, but the discipline of trying to create a dog with that type of discipline and that type of drive and taking them somewhere that they've never been before and being able to get used to it. But when it came to the game was a lot different in the 80s compared to the 90s. Simply because in the 80s, we were dealing with the old dog man. To them, I mean, to us, the Kingfish dogs and the Eli's and the Jeeps and the Zebos and the Angus, those were the dogs, the Crenshaws, the Hetricks. I mean, all those Stevensons, all those old men, those were like our mentors. That's where we learned from. So that's where the knowledge came from, gentlemen. And to respect the game, you had to respect them because they're talking about them. You're trying to jump into something that these men are professionals at. So you have to understand why people talk about them and their dogs. And only way that you was going to get that knowledge is you had to either get in and put in the work or get close to somebody. And anytime you wanted to get close to anybody back in them times, you had to have the respect. You had to be worthy of being talked to. Remember, all these things took something that you had to give to get. And as we got into the 90s, you're taking a group of gentlemen who learned the lesson from the 80s. Now you got a whole new different swing and a whole bunch of new faces coming into the 90s. All hell breaking loose. But now you got a new schooling period. And see, that X generation and all these different names, I guess we supposed to be the baby boomers or some shit. But
yeah,
the discipline from the household, the discipline from the village, it takes a village to raise a child. I mean, remember, my neighbors could whoop our ass. And we had,
same here.
I came from a mixed neighborhood. And the neighbors had to put you on the porch and wait till your mama get home. You was finna get a double ass whooping because the neighbor had to do that to you.
Yeah.
So I understood all of that even growing up. And if it worked for me, I always felt like if it worked for me, I wasn't gonna change anything when it came to me raising my kids. A lot of parents changed that way of thinking. Same thing with the dogs. I mean, I'm watching this generation look back on the old generation and act like we didn't know shit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's, quick to say fuck the old. But that's one thing that didn't happen in the 80s when we was all trying to get into the game. Those things start changing in the 90s because now you got those 80s guys who have that ability. Now they can actually start creating their own. And it's when they started creating their own is when you start seeing, the colors change. Because we had learned by this time. Now the old school, they didn't just they can sit back because it's because of what they did is the reason why we're doing what we were doing. And that carried us all the way through the 90s. A lot of the dogs y'all talk about came out of the 90s, gentlemen. Because by the time the 2000s came along, even now, y'all still living off of everything that was going on in the 90s, not the 80s. So to me, the gap as far as just life in general. Remember, I started out with the kind of phone, the cell phone that you was walking around with. You carried this big ass box and then it had a little handset on it. And that was a telephone. And I watched it break all the way down to where you can watch TV and do all the other kind of shit on the phone. I remember when AOL, and to get online, you had to pop a disc in your computer. And Netgear and all that other shit. So we lived through a whole lot of change, and not just in life, but when you start talking about the dogs, the one thing you'll always keep hearing me and my brother always say, the integrity, the honesty, the truthfulness, and the respect, and just the love of the dogs. We didn't get that from nothing but that old school people. You have to understand what that really felt like and what that really means to be able to understand the full impact that it had for us moving through the 80s and why we had so much success moving into the 90s to where it started becoming a problem. Because the problem came because now you have a whole lot of dog men who have that same type of love for the game that it got outside of the belt buckles and the dog food. Why? Look at the times. The 80s, drug game just got started. By the 90s, it was in full swing. Now you taking drugs, money, and the love of a dog. Come on. Things definitely changed, and it changed for the worse. Because
So
by the
that's where niggas.
2000s, they was trying to stop this shit. So, but the things, that's just how life changes. But the other thing I can't stand about the new is the lack of the respect part. If you can't respect your mother, you don't respect your father, you don't respect the teacher, you literally don't run out of people to respect. So it's hard to gain anything in life if you don't have respect for something. And that's hard to bring back if you ain't never known the full effect of what it is. And see, with the lack of respect becomes a lack of discipline. Because how are you going to get to discipline if you don't have respect for somebody who's going to make sure you are disciplined? And then you really take away the fact of what it means to win something and be able to appreciate it. I mean, like, a lot of people nowadays, they don't know how to accept a loss. I mean, hell, you get your ass beat enough, goddamn it, you get up off the floor and you're going to meet that person the next day and you're going to keep whooping, you're going to keep at that ass until you can finally win. The thing is, you always knew how to get up and go back out there. You didn't become a punk. Nowadays, it's so easy to pick up a gun and let off a bullet and the rest of your life is over. See, those are the changes that moving forward that we as old men sit back and watch, and we can see the deterioration because we already know what the other part looks like. We know what it looks like when mom and dad in the house. We knew what it looked like when dad started going to jail. We started seeing mamas without, having babies and on welfare, and that a whole bunch of daddies is in jail. This is what the drug game introduced to you. So when you see the change, but when it comes down to individual lives, like we had to deal with the same shit that we dealt with in the dogs in all types of sports. My thing is, regardless of what you're doing in life, how you're doing it, the respect, integrity, truthfulness, honesty, and love what you're doing, and have the discipline to follow through on all of those things, always going to lead to some type of success. Actually, it makes you a better person at whatever you're doing in life. And we stuck to that. And I owe a whole lot of that to the Marine Corps. Because why would I be doing all this shit to protect a country that don't even know who I am as an individual? But that person that's next to me, my bunkie, my brother, when them bullets start flying over your head, I got to have his back because I know he got mine. I'm going to be that bad. I got to be the best motherfucker I can be because I know he trying to be just as good, because that's the only way we going to get home. And for that generation who had to go through the Afghanistan war, look, they coming back home, brains all fucked up. It's terrible because they had to go through something in life that half of you people out here don't have no idea what it actually looks like or feels like. And nobody's there to help you. And see, this is what the new generation got to go with, because when you got people like us and Schoolboy and all the other guys is trying to help y'all, and y'all don't hear it, but you still have that opportunity to know there are some people that's really out here trying to help you. To me, it's just not enough. And that's the only reason it's not enough, because it's not enough willing to listen. And that's where I feel like this game is only going to move forward and change. When I keep hearing all this change in these bulldogs, when I start seeing people come together and actually start making a change. I mean, anytime you start talking about change, it's something that you can see. You can talk about change all day, but you'll never know what it looks like until you start making it happen. And until I start seeing the things where I know it's necessary to make a change, I'm always going to be skeptical, but it doesn't make me want to run away and act like I'm gonna look down on you. I'm gonna keep doing my part. I'm gonna always keep saying what I'm saying. I'm gonna hope that I'm touching somebody out there who's listening, and that's why I'm gonna leave it at.
Well
Salute,
said, Mike. Salute, man.
salute. I'm a
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna step on there and represent my decades because I come right behind you, Mike. So, I graduated at 89. All right, so my dog decade, I would say, go from 88 to 98. That's when I call myself. That's when I entered Kerr class, and that's when I graduated Kerr class. In about 98, that's when I graduated from Kerr class. That's about them 10 years I spent mastering the curves, being a master of curves. So, and I come up in that generation that a lot of people try to blame stuff on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the generation that y'all be talking about. Like, we come up, you look at that 88 to 98, the type of athletes, sports, the type of sports that was going on, the type of athletes in those sports, the type of music, the type of people that was making that music. That's what I represent. And that's how we wanted our dogs. Just like your favorite rapper from 88 to 98, that's what type of dogs we was making. Just like them players from 88 to 98, that's the type of dogs we was trying, that's what we was into. You know what I'm saying? So and we come up, our problem was a lot of it was just explained by our schoolboy and Mike, the drug. The drug. It came in on y'all watch, the watch before us. So however they got here and how it destroyed the families and the communities, we just rolled with it. We the generation that rolled with it. We was the ones that probably was the last ones that was getting ass whoopings from our mothers. Our mothers, that wasn't no men putting their hands on us, this generation, because and that's where they say a lot of the problems came from. And it was like because a lot of old heads used to be like, you gotta go squabble it out, or somebody hit you, you hit them back, all that. But see, it was a problem with the bully. We ain't all built the same. And some of these little kids coming from these broken homes, they not built to be taking these hits from these bullies going around. So the gunplay got involved just to even the playing field. Start just shooting the people. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just keep to tell people to stop putting their hands on. You know what I mean? So these father figures like Mike and Schoolboy and stuff like that, like I don't know what happened, but basically like a lot of that stuff y'all tell us now or whatever, it wasn't enough of that being said to the people that was getting knocked down and they had to get back up and stuff or whatever. It was more cheering for the winner, just like it is now. You cheering for the winner. Nobody cares about the loser. So that's when the embarrassment factor start getting less and less. You want to be a winner. Nobody really knowing how to lose. Nobody knowing that no more. So it started with that type of stuff, and some of us didn't use drugs because we seen our parents on drugs. We knew the plan was, or when we seen it start shaking up, like, hold up, some of our legends is getting messed up. Like, hold up. Because, some people love Jordan, but see where I come from, we love Lenny Bass. You dig what I'm saying? So it really hit us hard around this Joker. So basically, like, it's like we seen that shit for real. So it's like we stopped trusting a lot of stuff. We stopped trusting a lot of old heads with that stuff because, like, they came and it's like the drugs and stuff came on their watch. You know what I mean? A lot of them was using drugs. It was cool in the 80s. Like when I was coming up as a teenager, the old heads was snorting powder and all that stuff. That was a cool thing. It wasn't really hitting them. The bad side wasn't hitting them yet. So I was just one of the lucky ones that got to peep when that stuff started not being cool, when those people started falling and stuff like that, and the houses started breaking up, and people selling their cars and selling their kids and selling all that stuff behind the drugs, and these was real smart people at first. They was real smart people. You couldn't judge them. Like, these was real people's parents and stuff like that. So, we respected them. You know what I mean? We respected them and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And we couldn't understand what happened, but we knew we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to be using no drugs and nothing like that. So basically we started making money. we started making money off of it. So that's what the problem was. They was trying to get rid of us. They thought all of us was gonna be using that shit. Then when some of us start making money off of it, sending our kids to school and doing things that we wanted to do, that messed up the game. Cause then we could buy good dogs, we could do all that type of stuff. And once we got our hands on the dogs, like I said, we creating Jordans, we creating all that stuff that we like, we creating that shit. So then it became a problem. It became a problem. We became a problem. You know what I mean? Because we really wasn't going for it. You're not calling us nigga at the box. You're not calling us that. Like we don't care about our old heads that used to have to swallow that shit or whatever, whatever. It's not happening no more. It's not happening no more. And we got dogs just as good as y'all. And we got money we gonna cover that. Whatever, whatever. And we gonna be able to leave this joint with our money because ain't nobody buying. That's how we was doing. You know what I'm saying? But like, boom. So with doing that, a lot of things, it was a lot of casualties of war. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, we had little brothers, we had little cousins, we had no, so they watching us coming up, and their embarrassment factor got lesser than ours. You understand what I'm saying? Got lesser than ours. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what you fighting, like it's going faster and faster. Like now, like in my generation, like I said, we wanted to create Jordans. We wanted to create these things with our dogs. It seems like now in the generation after me, they want to buy that shit already made. You know what I mean? They want it already made. Everything's all like they just like fast food. They want the Uber. They want the Uber to deliver them a grand champion to their door. And you know what I'm saying? That's where you at now with it. You know what I'm saying? They telling you about pedigrees. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some of us, we've been through the dogs that they talk about now. We didn't even know their names. We didn't even know what they was or whatever, whatever. But when we had these dogs running through them, and these is dogs that people are selling just off their names now. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like a lot of us know that if we had just kept that garbage, but we didn't because it was garbage, eventually we could sell off the name. But we wasn't playing like that. You know what I'm saying? And so just my generation was from 88 to 98. And you can go through all of that, the sports, the entertainment, and all of it, because it's all tied together. Even life, the streets. So from 88 to 98, that's what I represent. And after that, I call myself, when I graduated in 98 out of Kerr class, which means now I know everybody will lie to you. The competition spirit took control over the game. So it's basically, for me, my best thing was to do was gather up the ones I love and just raise a family. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's where it's at. So it came back to the dog. You know what I mean? Because the world could get crazy. You can't just get out there being a customer and chasing all this stuff. You got to come home, care about what's at your house, take care of your yard, and that's where it started. That's what you got to care about nowadays. You know what I mean? Get your, if you can't, most of us can't. We can't even touch a firearm no more. You know, we've been couldn't touch a firearm, and then we're at an age where people could walk around with firearms. So you know what I mean? Now, so my move, we got to get the kids and the females or whoever it was around me. It was like the females, so we had to get them to get the gun license. Get the people who didn't get the charges, we school them in. Go ahead, get your gun license. Learn how to shoot. Get taught. Know how to do it for real or whatever, whatever. Because it's like it's getting to them times when you got your dogs. What your dogs for? Because it's these times now. You know what I mean? So that's why I never had a problem with dogs. People doing protection or anything because basically they always been with me during these times in my life. So basically, I always kept a dog that represented the times that I was in, and I always wanted something that was going on my mentality. You know, and I never hate on nobody else's shit. Nobody else's shit, whatever they got. Big ups to them. You know what I mean? We don't hate or none of that. We just keep it moving. And like I said, care about who we care about. And you gotta love yourself first. You know, work on your own demons. Get them out your closet before you even talk about anybody else. I don't even know nobody that got a clean closet. So everybody should be having their mouth shut because they ain't cleaning. You know what I mean? I never knew how somebody could get to the point where they think their house so clean or their yard so clean that they could talk about other people. It never was like that. Like you always got work to do at home. At home. Salute.
Well said. Salute. Good talk.
Damn, man, that ain't nothing but the truth, bruh.
Yep. Yep. That's basically 3-4 generations. Good talk, man. Everybody gave their perspective. I love it. Yeah.
And hopefully
You still
everybody in here
there?
grown, they should all understand the cycle that we trying to tell y'all because we lived it. We just giving you a short version of what it's like. That's all.
And everybody has their perspective. Everybody has their experience, what they went through. It's all valid, and we should be able to talk about it without arguing about it, and respect people's opinion, people's experience, and not get not get all twisted over it. It's kind of like my dogs. I never minded talking about the faults of my dogs. You have to be honest, because what I'm going to try and do in that case is try to improve on them. So it's the same thing as an individual. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has problems. Everybody loses. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to make your life better? How are you going to make your dogs better? There's ways to go about it. And hopefully some of the information we give will help somebody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Hey, this has been a good cook up. What I'm gonna do, fellas, for my panel and for the chat, I'm gonna post the link one more time because what I liked was I gave my perspective, and I'm overly critical of my generation for this reason. I was raised around a bunch of 80s, 90s babies, but my mom was a boomer. She wasn't one of those Gen X parents. My mom was 31 when she had me, so the respect and things, some of the things that I demonstrate are coming from a different place of discipline, right? And I don't want to be the end all be all for what I spoke on. And I'm gonna give it like another 5 or 10 minutes for anybody who wants to kind of get on here and get their perspectives as well before we wrap it up. I'll also be in the back chat for about 10 to 15 minutes after the show. If you didn't want to be on the front stream, because everybody doesn't want to be on the screen, talking to the world and letting everybody hear their opinions. But I do want to make it available for those who want to get in here. And speaking of the devil, welcome to Ram in the building.
Hey, Dre.
Yo.
Dre, I just seen the chat. I keep on, that nigga Ram keep on stealing me while I can't watch the chat. But Ram, you come from that generation. Yo, that's what I'm saying. Like, stop cutting the ass part of your jeans out, man. We don't roll like that, man. We covers the cheeks up, nigga.
Oh, nigga, you donated your butt to science, nigga. Shut up. They doing all kind of weird shit to your butt, nigga.
See, my generation would get offended by those kind of comments, man.
No, shit. I was born in 1980, man. I ain't soft. I'm a latchkey kid, bro. I had to raise myself in the wild. You feel me?
Garbage.
But I don't know what part of the 80s made the disco part made you take the ass part of your jeans out. You didn't correct that shit.
You the only one who bought
and then you wearing them, you can't be wearing just because you built this shit.
Just because you dress up like Prince and it ain't even Halloween. What's wrong?
Just because you can lift car engines and you building all that, do not mean you're supposed to wear tight jeans with no drawers on and shit like that, man. Dude,
hey, I don't be wearing no drawers though. I got a big old dick and I like to show off my dick print, so I don't never wear no drawers.
Nigga, you got yeast infection. Nigga, you got yeast
when I'm working on your 80 car.
You got yeast infection.
Your thick ass 80 car, she like that shit.
Nigga wearing them tight ass jeans with no pockets in them and got a rag hanging out that bitch, your butt cheek hanging out ass, nigga.
You sure do like man butt a lot, man. Something you want to tell us? Every time I come over, you got a man butt joke, nigga. You be at the gym sniffing niggas, giving them motherfucking spots on their squats and shit, so you can smell
I'm just trying to tell you that's what you remind me of. Them built ass niggas. You remind me of them built niggas wearing tight jeans and shit. Nigga, that built shit for nothing ass nigga.
To cover their squat so you can smell their butt.
You one of them built niggas for nothing and shit. Built for nothing ass niggas.
Oh, nigga, at least I ain't got parvo like you. You only human with parvo. Nigga, shut up. You built like a sick puppy.
All right. Can people really catch parvo?
No, but Big Hill can. You the first user ever to get Powerball. I'm finna go get that nigga a 71 right now, cuz. But no, I feel y'all though, man. All that generational shit is real, you know. Cause my parents is boomers. They was born in the 50s and right at 60. You feel me? My grandparents was born in the 30s and 40s. So being raised, you know, by my grandparents and my parents both, having both in the household and shit, I feel you. You know, I got a lot of the old school ways, but I'm also from the generation that got the internet first. You feel me? So I kind of get the best of both worlds of being, you know, Gen X like that. And I hate these Gen Z motherfuckers, boy. They ain't got no respect. None. You could tell they didn't get whooped or punched.
See, that's why we don't like y'all Gen X right there. That's exactly why we don't like Gen X, because that bullshit right there. Y'all bullies.
It ain't my fault we fucking John Wayne reincarnated.
Yeah, man. Because my generation, we take action. You know what I'm saying? And anybody who is affected by this, I'm sorry, but my generation did shit like Columbine and shit like that. Like we are very emotional, and we are emotional and will kill somebody over our emotions.
Yeah, that's why a lot of y'all be getting killed when y'all run up on these old heads who ain't playing, gun you down. But I also come from the generation that we used to fight. So, you know, the 90s was wild as shit, but you could still get a fair one before, you know, the gunplay came out.
Yeah, just don't hit them too hard.
Shit, we also on each hand is pushed back. Shit. I hit motherfuckers real
don't
hard.
Embarrass them. Yeah, don't embarrass them too much. They might come back.
Oh no, my fights come with a shootout too. So even after I whoop you, even after I put the beast by Gray on your ass, we can get to the shooting too. You feel me?
Let me share this with y'all too. For all y'all old heads and all of y'all to me are old heads, let me explain something to you. My generation also is the over-medicated generation. We're the generation of a lot of ADHD medication and things of that nature as well. We are chemically imbalanced, man. I'm telling you.
You know what our medicine was for ADHD?
An ass whooping.
Or take your ass outside.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Like, we didn't give a fuck your ADHD. You better calm that shit down, nigga.
Yeah. You know, I went to my mom took me to the doctor one time because I was always into something, you know, never sitting still, getting into shit, making trouble, all this stuff. Take me to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed Ritalin for me.
That's right? What I'm about to say, Ritalin.
Yeah, yeah. My mom didn't know what it was, but she told me, you know, after I'd grown up, she said, we were walking outside, and she looked at it. She had a bad feeling. She threw that shit in the garbage, never gave it to me. So I thanked her for that. I said, thank you, Mom.
Yeah, should have turned you to a zombie.
I've been fucked up. I wouldn't be here today.
You went from schoolboy to dropout.
That's real quick.
Y'all had to drop out, but I come from the No Child Left Behind generation. So even though a lot of us have diplomas and degrees, you know how they say it's a lot of educated idiots. That's true, but it's not our fault. Like literally, like now, it's harder to fail than it is to pass.
That's true.
Yeah, I seen a fat ass goddamn drill instructor in the army the other day. I was like, "How you fatting in the army, bitch?" Like,
Dre, you come from that generation. Dre and them come from that generation where the police would lock the parents up when they ain't going to school and stuff.
My generation, they'll take your ass, they'll lock you up, motherfucker.
Right. See, the game got switched up. The game got switched up like. The game got switched up like
there ain't no way some of these kids should be getting A's and B's and shit.
That's their participation trophy, man. That shit is irritating as fuck.
Nah, they will tell you, hey, just drop out. Just go ahead. Don't even come. You know.
When you gave them kids the card that they could call police on the parent, man, you done changed the whole household up, man. Kids looking at their parents like, you know you can't get too loud. You know the kids telling the parents they can't get too loud with them, stuff like that. Yeah. I'm gonna call Mr. So-and-so on your ass.
Yeah, one of my kids tried that shit with me back in the day, And I told her, you say, I'm going to call the cops. You can't hit us, this and that. I said, call the cops. You know what's going to happen? They're going to take me to jail. I'm going to get out. I'm going to come home and beat your ass again. Go call the fucking cops.
So you was at the beginning of a school. Well, yeah, you witnessed it.
Yeah,
you witnessed that
shit. Right at the beginning of it, right? And I also told them, look, they take me to jail. You ain't going to see me no more. So you ain't going to get your candy. You ain't going to get no clothes. You ain't going to get shit. You're going to go live with someone else. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Daddy. I won't do it again. That's right. Behave.
Hey, but look,
that's on.
Schoolboy. I blame that on the 80s babies, man. So look, my sister, like I followed my sister, my older siblings a lot, man. And I guess my mom had told my sister she couldn't do something she wanted to do. So my sister decided, hey, we're going to run away. And little brother, you coming with me. So she packs up her Lisa Frank lunchbox. We got 2 bicycles. Both bicycles have at least one flat tire, right? And we probably make it a half mile down the road. And my mom had this car called a Chevette. And the Chevette is the ugliest car I've ever seen in my whole fucking life. And and she put up on that Chevette, and it was probably like 95, 98 degrees outside, right? And she throws both of our bikes in the back of that Chevette. When we got home, man, she gave us the whooping of a lifetime. And it really changed my perspective on what I could and couldn't get away with, man. But I'm thankful.
My dad had a way of talking that made sense, So my daughter one time, she told him, "Grandpa, I'm gonna run away." He goes, "Why?" He goes, "Because they're mean to me, this and that." He goes, No. Why are you running away? Why don't you just walk? You don't have to run. Ain't nobody gonna follow you. Nobody gonna chase you. You want to leave? Go. She goes, "No, I'll stay home." Okay. Do what your parents tell you. Shut up and do what you're told. Yeah.
That's another thing y'all failed to mention too. Back then, not just the neighbors would beat you, like Mike was saying, but what happened a lot was if my mom whooped me and my uncle or my grandfather came over, they would, they would be,
they follow suit.
Yeah,
everybody get a turn on whooping your ass.
Boy. Hell yeah.
Now you live next door to somebody for 5 years, don't even know their name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait
till your dad gets home.
Or if you whoop somebody's kid, you got a fight coming.
Yeah.
Because that sense of community is not there.
Right.
In order for you to have a village like that where, it's acceptable to do that, it got to be a community type of spirit.
People have a tendency to look at the negative only. But if you have a community like that, not only are the neighbors, grandparents, uncle, whoever it is going to discipline you, they also going to look out for you. Just like, Dre said, you didn't have to lock your door. You didn't have to lock your doors. Somebody was watching you. Somebody was taking care of you. Somebody's going to feed you. You ain't going to go hungry. You need clothes, they'll make you clothes or they'll buy you clothes or whatever. You need something, they're there for you. So it's a two-way street in that respect. It ain't all negative. It's just like getting in a fight. You get in a fight, okay, you lose. You get in a fight, okay, you lose. You may do it again. Eventually, you're going to learn how to fight. And then the person that you fight with, if you can beat them, they're going to respect you. They know they can't pick on you. Now, if it's some big old dude, maybe you need your brother or you need your cousins or whatever. That comes along with it too. We all lived together basically at my grandma's house. All cousins, brothers, sister, all that. That was the spot. So not only did we have discipline, we had order. We also had a lot of love and somebody watching over us, make sure nothing happened to us. None of us got molested. Not me, my brother, sister, cousins, neighbors, none of that shit happened. So it's not all bad, man.
Hey man,
before we growing up, kids wasn't getting kidnapped like that and shit and touched on and shit. Like
ain't gonna happen.
Be like fucking Frankenstein at the motherfucking front door.
Yeah.
When they fucking stormed this castle. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. We ain't even going to court, none of that shit. This shit gonna get settled right now.
Yeah,
to be fair, y'all had a lot of warnings in your time frame though, because I specifically remember the 90s with shows. If it was dangerous stuff on the show, it said, "Do not try this at home." Y'all also had commercials that said, "Don't take candies from strangers." I ain't seen none of them commercials since 2003.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, look, man. For those who don't understand this too, as a father, I had to raise children. I'm a father of 6 kids, actually 7. But I had to raise my children through all these changes. And one thing that I never broke away from, I never let those changes in life change who I was when it came to raising my kids. I would
There you
whoop
go,
my
Mike.
kids' ass. I don't accept C's and D's and F. I don't accept a whole lot of shit that other parents was, some parents might have been afraid of them calling the damn police. I would dare mine, you know. I might
You're
have been
right,
the
Mike.
worstest father in my kids' eyes, because they were dad's a military. My dad, he don't let boys call the house. We don't have boyfriends in school. I might have been my kids' worstest nightmare. But one thing, as they grew up and started having their own kids, they learned to appreciate the things that I did the same way I learned to appreciate the shit that my parents did for me. Because now
You're
it's
right,
on
Mike.
them to have to raise their
100%.
own damn kids.
And they
Yep.
came out better. I'm
100%.
sure they became better adults by having you in their life.
That's
You
right.
know, in my area,
Yeah.
in my city, majority of kids, of our complexion or persuasion, don't have a father in their life. That's why it feminizes the males and it masculizes the females.
Well, brother,
So
I
you
got
got
6
mass
kids.
dysfunction. You got mass dysfunction because you don't have those houses where you got the mama,
Yeah.
the daddy, and the kids, and
Yeah,
they
but
Yeah.
see,
own
the
the
You
reason
don't
home
I
have.
say
within
that,
there.
because I got 6 kids by 4 different women. And I still never let that interfere with me raising all my kids and understanding that's your brother, that's your sister. And the only thing your mama's got in common is me. But all y'all belong to me. And
But
not
you were a
only did I
presence
take
in
care
their
of my
life.
kids, I
You
took
know,
care of their kids because that's the
Yeah.
family. That's the family role. But I was always going to be that asshole because I was never going to change who I was. They had to fit into my program because I always felt like I'm the king of this castle. I'm responsible for all of them. And that's a lot of
Yeah.
families to be responsible for. But I'm proud of them because guess what? I didn't have to worry about nobody going to jail, or I haven't lost a child yet along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. We still practice
Salute,
all that, Mike.
salute
You're
that,
right.
salute that shit,
They
salute that.
my grandkids don't walk to school. My grandson, he's 13, 14 years old. He gets driven and picked up at school every day. Don't matter. We see little kids, 5, 6, 7 years old, walking home from school. And that's
Oh
what
yeah, in the
predators
cities,
look for.
yeah, in the
Yep.
cities,
That's
like
what they look
in the
for.
cities, they know the little kids know the public transportation more than the grown ups for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
They
that's
because they
bullshit.
go to school every day on them
Yeah.
buses and stuff like that, different things, and
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah,
It
that's
don't take
scary.
but a
It's
few
scary.
seconds to snatch them up, and that's what predators look for. So I'm always
Always,
cognizant of that.
yeah. I always been afraid
Yeah.
for
All right.
since I've been able to feel afraid. I always been afraid for the kids for some reason.
Yeah.
For some
Yeah.
reason, yeah.
No, you
For
should.
some reason.
They're vulnerable. They're the most vulnerable. They're the weakest. Even if
Yeah.
your kid's 10 years old and he's tough as hell, a grown man could snatch him up.
Yep.
It don't matter. And that man, that just scares the hell out of me when I think about it. But you do that preventative maintenance that I talk about with the dogs. That's all it is.
For some of them, just to go to school. For
Yeah.
some
How
of them,
hard
just
is
to
it
get up.
for you to if your school's 2 blocks away and you think, oh, it's a short distance, I'll let my kid walk. How hard is it for you to walk your kid to school if you don't have a car? Walk them.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if it's the bus, the where the bus picks them up. If it's a block away, walk them to that block and make sure they get on that bus, and then be there before the bus arrives and walk them home. They just parents lazy sometimes, man.
well,
Just and
the
then when
structure, the structure,
yeah,
the more structured the family is, the better it is for the kids, right? Look at your
right,
family. You got your wife. I'm sure your daughter is married. I'm sure she's got a long-term partner. So
yep,
that's 4 adults. You know what I'm saying? At least four
yep,
adults in your
son. Well,
child life.
all my
Then they
kids are
uncles
the
and
same.
they now imagine somebody that's growing up in a community where uh they just in the house with their mother. They don't really have a father in their life. Their grandparents are probably on average probably younger than what you are, so they don't want to raise nobody else's kids. And then there's not a lot of homeowners in the neighborhood, so everybody's renting. Or people are constantly moving and shuffling around, so that breaks down the community aspect of somebody always watching, or you knowing your neighbors, and it creates more dysfunctional kids, which makes a more dysfunctional neighborhood. You
Yeah.
know,
No, you're right. And the kids are the ones suffer for it. And in that scenario that you're talking about, that's the adult's fault. That ain't the kid's fault.
everybody suffers from it because when those
Somebody
kids grow up
dropped the
dysfunctional,
fucking ball.
that's who robbed it. That's
Yep.
who gonna shoot your son because they got into an argument, or he couldn't accept whatever name he called him, or whatever, he got into a fight. That's who gonna shoot your son. That's who gonna break in your house. That's who gonna that's who gonna cause ruckus in your neighborhood. So it affects everybody, not just that kid.
You're right.
See, when we was coming up, the parents had to grind so hard. Like my mother had worked at McDonald's and all that type. She worked so many jobs like that or whatever. And my stepfather drove the Metro bus. So they had so many, they trying to get as much money as they can to come up. So it was lucky that, like what I'm trying to say, like we still had the respect for our parents and mentality, whereas though when they was going to work, I still had to take care of my little brother. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas though I had to make sure we were safe and cool or whatever. And a lot of that shit was left on us kids in that generation I came up in while they were out grinding. We had to kind of look out for our family members and stuff till they came home and make sure the house straight, whatever. However, but in the meanwhile, while we're doing that, while our parents are tied up to pay the bills, the streets is raising us. You dig what I'm saying? Whereas though we starting to become closer to friends on the outside more than family. Like as long as this goes on for years and years, that's how you become closer to people that's outside your family than inside your family. They know you more than your own family because you did certain things with them on all these hours that you was basically under your own watch. So you did things and stuff like that. You did some things that you might not even be talking about or whatever, or never talk about. That builds bonds with people out here, but they not your family. So it causes confusion there too. But it's all behind people trying to survive and pay bills and shit. You can't nurture those kids the way you're supposed to because they're gonna be out there. They're gonna be out there. And they're gonna be building relationships, and it might be bad relationships. Some of them don't even make it behind these things. Some of them don't make it home from trying different things while a parent was at work or had to pay some bills. Their kid that got into something with another neighborhood, they ain't make it home. Parents don't got no idea about what's going on in the streets. Didn't know the kid had beef with these people or nothing. You understand? Don't even know about the beef. These kids living whole lives that the parents know nothing about. They keeping a secret right underneath their nose. They might have guns in their house right underneath their nose. Don't even know. Different things been going on like that. You know what I'm saying? Behind people trying to pay bills. So it's good when you hear Mike and Schoolboy saying what they saying and stuff like that, because you recognize the power of I just recognize the power of having like the mother and father. It's like, you got good cop, bad cop type of thing can be presented on you. Different things. They got they're more equipped on handling these situations. But everybody goes through it. It's a struggle because people have to pay bills. So, we can't beat it. You're going to have to fight once you have kids. That's why one thing is, before you have kids, think about these problems. Before you even have kids and bring them in this world, think about if you got it set up right for your kid. Don't just be going out here having sex with people and having kids. Then you just basically putting that kid in the same situation. If you ain't setting it up for him, giving him the equipment to fight these battles. That's what I think. That's what I always thought. Like it should be more importance paid attention to people having sex and having kids. It should be more responsibility, y'all. It shouldn't be just having kids. If your pockets ain't right and you ain't got no plan for that kid, you shouldn't be having no kids. And too many of that shit get overlooked, like just fly by, like people got these kids and it just fly by. Nah, that was the mistake. You wasn't supposed to be having no kids, man. You wasn't even built for that. You wasn't even out here doing stuff in this world to be having no kids. And you bring your kids out here, you know what I mean? Then you're gonna be mad at them for whatever they become. If you didn't have nothing to set them up in life, you got to stand behind them all, however they come out. Salute.
Well, my
Good
name,
point.
I'm gonna put it like this, fellas. I ain't never said I was an innocent person, but let me explain this to you. My name was just as strong in the streets as it was in my house, and my kids and my family was always gonna be off limits. And I owe that to the Marine Corps because I stood by that shit. Don't fuck with my family. Don't fuck with my kids. So I wasn't dumb to the streets, and in order to get that kind of respect in the streets, you had to have some type of name. That's why I was always involved in the music, giving those kids the opportunity to come in the studio and do rap. Ram, no, because he was one of them little kids that I went after, way out in Vegas. But then, I was always coaching something. I'm always running a business, trying to teach a trade. All these things are things that kept my name popular because I was always looking to give back. And it wasn't just about my family because I looked at everybody's family because I didn't want people to have excuses. See, all the things that go bad, there's always a reason why. But nobody's taking advantage of all the other things that's going on out there to try to help them out of these situations. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I take my hat off to LeBron because LeBron was one of them kids that the neighborhood raised and he put himself in a position. That's why he can do the things that he does, even regardless of how people think about him as a basketball player. But as a human being, there's reasoning why he built a school. There's reason why he put kids through college. See, that's where he come from because that's how he got to where he got, and that's his way of giving back. I came from that attitude because them same niggas that helped raise him was them same niggas who was like me. All of us had street mentalities, but we can't just let the kid ruin itself. And that's the part that I'm saying is we need more people to stand up like that. Because if you're letting the streets raise them, then what are you doing? Sitting back watching? You letting that happen? I mean, the
No,
streets is that
no, they be
powerful
at
over
work.
you
They
that
be
you
at
ain't got
work.
no goddamn
They,
control over your own shit. Y'all got
they
me
got to be
fucked
at
up.
work. They got to be at work. You know what I mean? What you gonna do if your parents at work? They at work. They can't be every place. They got to trust you to be able to handle that stuff by yourself. They got to trust you. A lot of them can't be watching their kids all the time. You know what I mean? Like because they got to work. They have to work and pay those
I ain't
bills.
never let that be an excuse for me taking care of my damn kids. My kids lived in 4 different households.
But
Never let that be a reason.
did you ever give your kids props for being good kids and not getting in trouble
Always,
like that?
always,
Okay. All right.
always.
Let me give y'all this though too, and this is the tie that breaks, not the tie that bonds. Geographically, it affects everybody different as well, and that's why I made that statement in the beginning because in the country, a lot of us live on, and this is something I'm out to get in my feelings real quick, y'all. Give me 30 seconds to explain this, and I'm gonna get my feelings, and I'm gonna get out of my feelings. In the country, growing up, a lot of us, for me, my family, we had land already. So a lot of my family lived on my family's land, and the houses were built close together in close proximity because we had the ability to do that, right? So it created an environment where it was easier or more convenient to have that. You might have that one auntie that she has 5 kids already, so we all go to her house after school. In the inner cities, a lot of people migrated to the inner cities for jobs, and there's a big difference in the backgrounds in the cities that y'all are from. And when you're in a city like that, a lot of times the trust factor isn't there because you don't know what the morals and values of the area you're in are for that group. Even with getting introduced to the dogs, I never had to leave my family's property. We had acres upon acres of land. I never had to leave my family's property of dogs to enjoy the dogs because there was 4 different families of dogs on a 40-acre plot where I'm from. So those demographics, I just want to inject those into the conversation, and I want to back out of the conversation.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because in my city, I'm in what's called the Rust Belt. It's an area where there were a lot of jobs, a lot of factories, breweries, automobile manufacturers. And then at a certain point in the 80s, a lot of those factories started getting shut down. Those jobs were being outsourced to other countries. Companies was relocating to other countries because of the cheaper labor or the more lax environmental protection laws for like the pollution that they was making as they manufactured their product. So basically, what you had was jobs being depleted at a rapid rate, but at the same time, drugs start coming in. And that really, really messed up a lot of things, man, because like a lot of my uncles and like the people that initially came up here from down south, you know, man, they get a job at the snap of a finger. You know, it was easy because there was so many factories and stuff. But when that stuff shut down, you know, it became a lot harder for people to put a meal on the table. So a lot of people started going to the streets. And some of them older people look at the younger people and kind of like, man, y'all lazy, man. Or y'all must don't want to work. You know what I'm saying? Back when I was growing up, man, you could get a job, man. And I'm like, man, it's not the same no more, man. You know, and at the same time that was happening, people started going to prison because of the street activities. So now fathers is being taken away from the household. Now you got an influx of single parent households headed by women. And that creates dysfunctional children and it creates dysfunctional neighborhoods. So the experience of coming from an area like that is going to be different for somebody that came up maybe in a more rural area, maybe had a tighter family structure, maybe come from an area where, you know, maybe farms like, or y'all had land and stuff like that. People came up kind of different, you know, and that has a tremendous difference in what's going on, you know.
Sports.
Yeah, along the lines of what Dre was saying, kind of the same thing with our family, and we lived in town sometimes too, but mostly out in the country. I grew up in the country, then moved to town, then I moved back after I grew up. But regardless, our immediate family always stayed close together, whether it was in the same town, down the block, same neighborhood, one town over, always close by. And I kind of try and instill that into my kids, grandkids, all that. Some of the grandkids move away. Some are in the military. That's why they move away. But most of my family, immediate family, is all close by. And the one thing I instilled in them is you might need help. And if you're away from home, you might not get no help. So that's one of the reasons why we stuck together. And I understand that you know, part of this reason, what you just mentioned, of the breakdown of family, started in the 60s when you know, when welfare kicked in. The mandate was you could not have a man in the house. That's part of the reason why families broke up. And it doesn't have to be just loose women and stuff like that. Sometimes it was, but if you lose your job, you need government aid a lot of times. To get that government aid, you cannot have a man in the house. That broke up families.
And many think that was intentionally done by the government.
It was intentionally done. It was. It's not a thought. And you're right. It was. It was done on purpose. That's how you control people.
Yeah, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I know it was intentional.
No, you're right. You're right. No, I'm agreeing with you. You're right. And because that's how you can, one of the ways to control the population.
I think that was Big Hill out there talking, Big Hill, and to Dre, to piggyback off of the two things y'all said. Now, Carolina and Ohio is two different areas for me. I grew up in Ohio, so I understand. My father worked for Firestone in the tire company for 40 years. My mother was a nurse. We were a middle-class family. I understood the whole of Detroit. My father moved up from Alabama. So all those car industries to make car parts, General Motors, Ford, all that whole entire area. When them places left, them places to this day have never recovered from those big losses. And then I seen the same thing happen in Carolina when they down there where I was on that base. They had DuPont. They had all the textile places that you could possibly imagine. But when them places left, them places to this day have never, ever recovered. So that's almost 30 years, you guys, of me watching a big change in two different parts of this country. But the thing that I seen that definitely worked is the family. The people who had control over their families had the most success.
That's true. I believe the best way to go about like just even existing as human beings is to have the father, the mother, raising those kids together. When the girls get of age to where they want to date, if the father's in the house, he gonna want to meet that young man. You know what I'm saying? He gonna want to ask him, okay, what are your plans with my daughter? What are you doing in school? That's like a screening process. You know what I mean? And that helps the daughter to pick a better mate, which makes her kids come out more functional. You know, but when you break down that whole structure, you have like the block I'm on right now, man. It's probably like a few houses. It's probably like 3 houses that got a man and a woman raising the kids, and one of them is Mexican, one of them is schoolboys people. They like the house, not my neighbor, but my neighbor's neighbor, and another one is like an Asian household. But the black family, mostly women and kids, man. And then you wonder why, you know, it's messed up like that, man, because the family structure is tore up, you know?
Yeah, a lot of it is culture, you know, and a lot of these things we're talking about. And that's why I stress family is so important, because sometimes you might lose a job. And if you ain't got no help besides government help, then you shit up a creek a lot of times.
But
So I'm the head of my family, but not just my immediate family. Me and my wife help my mom, my sister, brother, and they've helped us too. It ain't just one-sided. All our grandkids, kids, all that, we're there for them. And that to me, that gives me peace, because I don't give a shit about myself. I really don't. It don't matter. I can go without. I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm good. As long as I'm able to do what I do here online and the dog stuff and all that shit. Everything else taken care of. My wife takes care of what she takes care of. I'm good. So I'm able to help them if they need it, and they're gonna need it. And it's not just immediate family. It goes down. If I got great grandkids, I'm gonna help them too. I got cousins, neighbors, even our neighbors. We help each other too. So a lot of time it's that family attitude. It's not just has to be immediate family.
That's right.
We've done for people, they've done for us, and
see,
I'm always there for them.
that's a big statement you making, and that's the same thing like Mike saying. See, like y'all guys, see, I want y'all to know that I am observing what y'all saying, and I do respect what y'all saying. Like, but y'all are not the rule. Y'all are more like the exception. Like, what I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna really. I don't really want to say that, but it's kind of like that. But basically, we need more y'all. We need more people like y'all that has the time, or even if you don't got the time, because I'm sure your time could be handled in other ways, but like to share some of that with the communities. That's why I always respect guys like you, Mike, Pops, all the elders that reach out to the youngins to be coach. Like even my coaches, like I couldn't get there if it wasn't for my coach or my friends' parents taking me to practice, or seeing me and be like, hey, you know, like they had to join in. They had to join in, else I wouldn't have been on no teams. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have been stuck in the streets more. But like my parents at work or whatever. But other people stepped in to be like, hey, we'll take them to practice. We'll do that. So y'all are guys that seem like y'all do that for y'all communities that y'all around. When y'all are in a community, when y'all see something that y'all can help out and be a bridge to, or help out that person be successful, it seems like y'all to step up and be that man. And see, a lot of people, y'all should get more props than what y'all get, is what I'm saying, because it's not a lot of y'all. And for y'all to do that when y'all got y'all own family says a lot. It says that you care about people in whole. So I do recognize that. I just want to salute that. That's all.
That's what it's all about, though, fam. Right there, what you just said. We need more of that. And if the more people we can tell that and get them to understand it works, you have to get out and put in the work, and your heart got to be into it. Because again, without it, it's gonna get worse. That's all. It's not gonna get better. Yeah. It's gonna get worse.
You're right.
Hey,
somebody got to help, man.
I want to give y'all an example of that, man. When I first moved into this community in Tucson, Arizona, right? There's a family next door. They're from Baltimore, and they hood. Like if you've been to Baltimore, you know They from the hood in Baltimore, right? And the kids was bad as hell. They still bad as hell, but this is what happened. Okay, so they see us. They're African American descent. We're African American descent. Cool. So naturally, culturally bonded, right? And so the kids came over to want to play with my daughter, and I said, okay, let me go meet your parents. And they look taken aback by the fact I said I want to meet their parents. So my wife and I, we go next door. We introduce ourselves. We get their numbers. We're like, look, this is my kids can come over here. Woo woo. And so the next day they come over and their kids want to play with our kids at our house. And of course they come, I showed them the area where their kids would be playing at and stuff, right by the front room where I got cameras and stuff. And the kids didn't say yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, or no, sir. They did none of that. But I would make corrections on my kids. And after a week of them kids playing with my kids, when they came to my house, they took them shoes off at the front door and they would say yes, sir, and no, sir, just like my kids would. So a week later after that, 3 more mothers, single mothers from the community came over and was like, hey, our kids all go to school together. They asked, could they come over here after school and play with your daughter? And the parents from that one interaction and the community talking, like, there's a family over here with a father figure in the household. And those kids, those mothers were sending those kids over here not just to play and to get a break, but to get some structure. So having one strong man in the community is a lot. But like you said, if you put a fistful of 5 of them together in a community, that's a strong blow. And that's what we're building with the Neo Dogman movement. And that's why I have y'all brothers on here, because y'all's perspectives, I promise you, every conversation we have, it makes me check myself and hold myself accountable. When Mike said, don't take the easy way out, that shit hurt. But it also struck an accord with all real men, because real men are truth seekers. And so I just want to say, Mike, I heard you. And that's gonna take a while, because what happens is when you give somebody a reality check, the first thing we have to do is go to the board with a game plan of how we're gonna fix the problem. So with my recruits, I give them 3 minutes to complain and 5 minutes to come up with a solution. But by that 10-minute mark, they better be working again. You get what I'm saying?
That's right.
So I just want to inject that in there.
Hey, bless you for that, Dre. What you doing, man? With them kids right there, man? You affecting their life, man. They might not have never seen no structure like that. Yeah. They might not never even been around it. And by you introducing that to them, you're doing a great service to them and to the community. And again, that's why, you should, you're an honorable brother, man. And that's why I'm rocking with you like that. And I'm sure there's other brothers that feel the same way, man. That's powerful, because I'm somebody that grew up in the ghetto, single mother household. I'm more blessed than a lot, because I had a lot of uncles and my grandparents and stuff like that. But I know people, man, that didn't have that, bruh. That didn't have nothing. Parents on crack, grandparents in another state, and they wild. Imagine somebody like you being in their life. That could give them a whole perspective, man. That could be the difference between one of them kids turning out to be a degenerate or being somebody to be proud of. Just having a positive role model, just to even look up to and aspire to be, is impactful. So I salute you on that.
Dre, I respect that you understood that. Like I always say, fellas, it don't take a lot of people to make change. It takes the right people with a plan. And I believe that. I so heartily believe it from my heart. That's why I sit back and I have these conversations, but I sit back and I watch. I watch and see who the new leaders moving forward. And trust me, man, these conversations, even though we having them, I swear I hope it touches somebody out there, even if it ain't but 1 or 2. And that's for real.
Yeah. Now you'd be surprised, Mike. I have people coming years later telling me positive stuff. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're going to have an impact on somebody, and it comes back to you, and it influences them in a positive way. We still have friends of my children that call me and Angie mom and dad. This is a term of endearment, because they could come over, they needed something, we take care of it. Everybody else called us mom and dad, so they did too, and they had moms and dads. It's just, like I said, it was a term of endearment. I did a video on being a good neighbor with the dogs. It's still on my channel if people want to look it up. And then I just give some tips, this and that. I'm that way where I live. So not far from here, there's a river. Well, down in the river, that's where the homeless people live. So, they go through the garbages, they do this and that. I don't care. And I tell them I don't care. If I walk out there and they're going rummaging through my garbage, and they, they'll say, hey, I'm just looking through the garbage. Don't call the cop. Don't get mad. I say, hey, go for it. It's garbage. If you find something you need, take it. Sometimes we put clothes out. The blue trash can is for, I forget what it's for. Anyways, we put stuff on the blue trash can, just a box of clothes or shoes or sometimes food, because we know they're going to come through at night on garbage day and rummage through shit. So I let them know it's okay. Do it. Well, I'd like to think because of that, we don't have no problems. We don't have no break-ins. They don't steal my shit. I leave stuff out. Nobody touches it. And whether it's because of that or not, I'd like to think it's because of that. If a neighbor needs help, we help them. During the, when there was no toilet paper during COVID and all that shit, we're all sharing toilet paper with people. Here, I got some. I finally got a hold of some. Here, take a roll, take a 4-pack, this and that. We do that back and forth because we live here. So it starts in your home first, and then it branches out to your neighbors, and then it branches out to your community. And, just like that. It may be only 1 or 2 people that you're affecting, but hey, that's okay. At least it's none. It's better than none.
Yeah, because if one of them people think about breaking in somebody's house in the neighborhood, they're gonna skip over your house. Like, oh, no,
they are. Yeah.
Cool.
Or someone's gonna tell them, hey, don't fuck with that house. And there's been break-ins in our area all around us, but not here. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I'd like to think if it's homeless people or whoever, it's because of that. I'll take care of them. I give them shit all the time. I don't want it. What I'm gonna do with it? And that's just the way we are. We babysit kids we don't even know. It's my daughter's friend's daughter or some shit. Yeah, bring them over. Randy will watch them. Yeah, no problem. Okay, they're good, man. So that just like what Mike was saying, Dre, and everybody else. Go ahead.
This is Martina. How you guys doing today?
What's going on, Martina?
Good.
What's happening?
What up?
How's everyone? Yeah, I was
good.
I wanted to jump in real quick and mention something because my wife. Now that you guys are talking about the topic you guys are talking about, and my wife, she works at the school, and she tells me things, and I think that's another part that the parents should work with the teachers and stuff like that, because to be honest with you, they're really not. And you see in most schools that the kids are lying and saying things, and then instead of working with the parents, the parents working with the teachers, they're going against the teachers or the faculties, and then it's becoming a problem. And so like they'll come in and they'll lie about the testings and whatever the case is. But then the parents, instead of working with the teachers, they get down the teachers' throats and stuff like that. So I think the kids nowadays growing up starting to see like power, like they got more power, or I don't know how you could what you could say about it, but entitled or whatnot. And I think that's part of it too, because now you guys talking about role models and this case and that. But I think that's a big part of it too, because our kids spend a lot of time in these schools, and they not only do they spend a lot of time, it's the people they're around in these schools, the other students. Some of them bring in their phones, or they e-cigarettes or whatever you call those things, and then they get caught, and then they lie about the situation, and then like I said, then the parents are with the parents, like the parents are getting on the teachers about this, but teachers got their hands tied. What you guys think about that?
Second or third generation of dysfunction. You know, if you got a kid that grew up in a fatherless home, and then they had kids, then they grew up in a fatherless home, and then they had kids. That's like what your wife probably dealing with in that school. Second and third generation dysfunction.
Martinez.
Yes.
Sir, I'm glad you bring that I'm glad you brought that conversation up. And I'm not trying to get personal or anything, but it sounds like your wife is a good teacher. I want to know.
She has a lot of patience with students. And,
okay, yeah. I was going to ask you, does this discourage your wife?
No.
Okay. Because your wife understands the problem, because I'm pretty sure she explains the problem to you, and I know she would go out her way to try to fix that problem. But most teachers are not like your wife. You know that, right? And I'm glad to hear you bring that conversation up, because based on what you were saying to me, it seems like she's concerned about that. And I don't, and anytime you know a person who are willing to speak on that and know there's a problem, and she has to have patience, because, most teachers know that problem and they don't care, but when you have one, like you spoke on her, and how she spoke on it to you, she actually told you the problem, but she didn't complain about it. You didn't say she complained about it. So I think she actually, and that's why, let me ask you, does it discourage her? You said no. So I know she works her way around that. And that's maybe what she does in school would drag other teachers in. But she is like we were talking about. She is not part of the norm. She's outside of the norm. You know what I mean? And salute to you and your wife.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, that's mostly
she does try to work around. She does try to work around. Like if she knows that a student is a certain way, she'll try to talk to him, or she'll say, well, for example, there was one that she noticed that she liked it a certain candy or whatever it was. I mean, she got the parents' permission. She said, but if you go to class and you behave, I'll get you this. I think it was Takis or something that they liked it. But she did get the parents' permission. She said, if you behave and I'll bring you a bag of Takis. And she did. And he did go to class and he behaved that day. Yeah. So she does.
Yeah, that was a good point. And a lot of that happens in public school. Don't happen in private school. My daughter teaches private school. So not only was she a teacher for all her kids, she's a teacher for my grandson, her nephew, and friends that we know. But the problem is, part of the problem is, in the past, if you got in trouble at school, your parents were notified. So if you got in trouble at school, you got in trouble with your parents. Now you get in trouble with school, the parents attack the school, they attack the teacher, they defending their kids for misbehaving.
Exactly.
And that empowers it empowers the kids to think they can do whatever the hell they want, because their mom's not going to take the teacher's side. She's going to take the kid's side, I think that's wrong. If the teacher's wrong, if the teacher's abusive, that's different. I'm talking about regular shit, like turn your phone off. I don't have to turn my phone off. Fuck you, teacher, this and that. It's gotten way out of hand, right? And they're not enforcing it. And then you have it's not just a breakdown of the family, it's a breakdown of the school administrators and the laws and the way they work and all that stuff. So that's part of the public school problem, and it's been going on for years and years. Just like we were talking about earlier, they're passing kids that shouldn't be passed, because when you pass children, you get more money. If you flunk kids, you get less money.
Right.
So they're gonna pass them no matter what. And again, you're putting kids out here that graduate from junior high and high school, they can't hardly read and write, and their future looks bleak. And then you have them go to college and get these degrees that don't mean shit. So it's not going to put them in the workforce. They don't teach them how to work. They don't teach them how to survive on their own. They're given some liberal fucking degree or some, liberal arts or psychology, fucking whatever shit. It means nothing. It doesn't.
And not only that, they got. I'm sorry to cut you off, schoolboy, but not only that.
Go ahead.
now they're in heavy debt for something that they can't make no money.
Can't make no money. Right, right. And there we go. Now you're going to have to depend on government aid or whatever, or you're just in the hole for money the rest of your life. Rather than, if you're not that educated, doesn't mean you're stupid. You could learn a trade. You could learn, sales. All kinds of stuff. You find something you're good at and learn how to make money out of it. It took me a long time to learn that, and that's what I try and teach my kids. Whether you have a degree or you don't have a degree, find a way of making money with something you like to do and something that you can either produce something or provide a service and have an income from that. But a lot of that is law, and the school, the rules have just changed where now the kids have more power than the teachers, and the teachers get frustrated. A lot of them quit. They don't get paid that much anyway, and they don't know how to deal with these children that are going buck wild. They
should be getting paid more.
And I think
they definitely should be getting paid more.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
My bad, Big Hill. But then I think that's why what Mike was saying, that now most teachers don't care because now they're underpaid and they're going through all the stress themselves, with these
children.
And then also you got teachers from areas that ain't even tied to the schools that they teaching in.
Yeah,
they don't care about them kids in there. They just there for a check.
Let me interject real quick, Solo. Yeah, see, that's a major thing too. That's what I was going to hit on, Solo. Dang, teaching. I'm gonna take it to the dogs. Teaching is a science too, and it's like conditioning. You can't teach all the dogs the same. You can't school all them dogs the same way. You can't condition them all the same way. So teaching should be looked at where as though they should have to. I'm sure they go through a little process to learn how to teach kids, but the standards can't be. It's too a broad stroke. A lot of these kids, when we go in school, we don't even know what we're going to school for. Like, what's the purpose of it? We have no, like, when you go into high school, whatever. Most of the kids, I'm just talking about myself, we had no idea what we was going to school for. We just knew we had to go to school. We didn't. We just got through it some type of way, by not getting in trouble or whatever. But we wasn't really into the school stuff because we didn't apply. We didn't know how to apply what they was trying to give us. So, like, if it's somebody that can show the kids how to apply these things, or why you're even going to school, maybe they'll have an incentive. But you definitely have to pay the teachers more, I think, because like you can't underpay those people. It's like you got to respect that profession, because like you can have real good conditioners with these dogs. And some people pay them people to used to condition their dogs, pay them because like they know how to do it that well. So that's the type of teachers you want teaching your kids. Like Solo just said, like a lot of our kids need to be taught by our people sometimes, because they know, or they got to be from the same environment, or kind of know something to even understand why that kid ain't receptive to certain things. And you might can get that kid to grasp things if you know how to. It just might be how to break things down in layman terms for that kid in that area. A lot of times it don't seem to get set up like that, because the teachers from one community get put over into some other school and this stuff. I don't know how it works really, but like a lot of the teachers couldn't really know how to reach the kids. Is that what I'm trying to say? They didn't know how to reach the
flat
kids.
Out, man. Flat out. If we're gonna be just candid, I personally feel like in my city it's segregated. I feel like it should be more black male teachers in those schools with authority over those black children, because I remember when I was a kid, it was certain teachers, man, when they come in, we finna cut up, we finna clown. We had no respect for them because we really knew they didn't care about us. But it was certain other teachers, when they come in, even the bad kids is kind of straightening up, because we knew that teacher could empathize with us.
Exactly.
That teacher cared about us, and that
you could feel it.
Was from our culture, and we felt that.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
It's another thing in the school system where you got discrimination against you know what I'm saying, brothers, you know what I mean? You can research it right now, because people got an agenda, man, and they don't want to see that. So they want to
Like if
control that.
schoolboy had a class, Mike and them had a class, we would all be paying attention. You understand what I'm saying? If y'all had classes, if y'all was teachers, y'all are teachers. Like y'all are teachers, but like it's different ways to reach people, and I think they get overlooked. That's like the major part of it. Like you got to have the right person touching. I mean, relating to these kids. You know what I mean? But I guess it's hard to get people to want to be a teacher if you ain't paying them that money. They not going there. The best minds are not probably going there because the money ain't right, and they got kids they got to support. So the money, go back to the money and the bills thing. I think when you chasing money to pay for bills, we all get shuffled around in different positions that we might not be that person. That's like, just because you're an electrician, you might really be, your gift might be in teaching, but the teaching ain't paying you enough for your family. So you got to get this electrician job. You got to whatever. So a lot of the money things and paying bills kind of shuffle us around. And I think I think at a time before in history, way back, when we was living as communities, teachers probably were selected, like, things were selected according to your gift. The doctors is really going to be somebody that's gifted and working on people. The teacher's going to be really somebody that got that gift. It ain't just no job. Once you turn these things into jobs, then you got anybody being a teacher. You got anybody being a mechanic, anybody being an electrician or whatever. Like, they don't really got the feeling for being that. They don't really got the gift for being that.
They gutted the school systems, man. Our generations, when you was in high school, they had electrician courses, plumbing, woodworking. The girls had home ec, teaching them how to cook and clean and do this and this and that.
I remember that. We had home ec.
They had the driving school.
Driver's ed.
They gutted all that out, man. They gutted all that out.
Art, music, all that stuff. Yeah. You definitely have to have teachers that care, and you have to have parents that care, and they got to work together. And a lot of that has broken up too. Sometimes parents don't have the time, or they don't give a shit. They have to be involved.
The person got used to that just being a daycare for you. You just make sure they go to school, and you the teacher's problem now. And that can't be like that either. You know what I mean? Yeah. But some people are out there. They love to teach them bad kids. They know how to get to it. You know what I mean? And some people out there like that. You know what I mean? They just know how to do it. And
you're right. You're right. If they come from a similar black background, it makes a lot of difference. It makes all the difference in the world. They can relate to the children. They've been through the same shit. And they're an example of how they can come out of that hole, be productive, be successful, make something of themselves, and the kids will respond in kind if they respect you for that.
But you know what, Schoolboy, every time that we come on these shows, we preach the same attitude in these dogs. You gotta have a love to do what we do.
Right.
We like them teachers that you're talking about. All we need you to do sometimes is just shut up and listen if you don't know. Because as long as you're shutting up and you're listening, your brain getting some work. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. You're right, Mike.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got to have that experience too. You had to have gone through it.
Yes, sir.
So we can't fake it, Mike. You did your thing, Mo, and I did my thing. If we were full of shit and a bunch of liars, nobody would respect us. They'd see through it. Something would come out and say, "No, you didn't do that."
Especially the kids, though. That's what the kids know lies. The kids have lie detectors built in them.
They do, man.
And they won't even tell you that they know you lying. They won't even tell you. They'll find a way to manipulate that. Like, okay, I know that's how you want to lie. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Even the dog know you don't give a damn about them.
That's right.
They can sense that.
Yeah.
I was
Hey fellas, I hate to do this to y'all, man, but my wife just texted me and the twins is both up. It's time to go feed the baby. But I do want to give y'all a chance to go around the room and make y'all humble plugs. I'm gonna give the watchword, the samurai motto, and then I'll stay in the back chat for about 10 minutes after the show just to say some parting words with you guys.
All right. Everybody knows how to get a hold of me probably by now, hopefully, but it's You can get a hold of me on Facebook Messenger. My email is richardjschoolboy60@gmail.com, or on Instagram. Registered Dogs got books and keeps and breaking sticks, T-shirts, reprints of Sporting Dog Journal. Or if you just have a question or something, I got my channel on YouTube, Richard Garcia Schoolboy. And like always, Dre, I appreciate you having me on, and I'm here to help. And I appreciate everybody's support.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Big shout out to everybody. Big shout out to Schoolboy. Big shout out to Dre. You know, Dre, you always know I'm out here for your family, because I always said you're the new spearhead, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. Big shout out to everybody who supports the channels. As always, you know how to reach us on Tuesdays and Fridays, Talk Shit Tuesdays, and Hot Mics Fridays. You know, enjoying the show, just jump in, share some of your knowledge, and just keep that part in mind, man. Become a part of somebody's movement. Reach out there and touch somebody. If it's not, but this to help support what we doing as we try to help support others. Be a part of something.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, sir.
Hey, let me interrupt real quick. 601. Do you mind if I talk about the fundraiser we're doing? I don't know if you can hear me.
I hear you, bro. Well, you know, nah, I don't mind. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just don't want people to get the wrong conception about it. You know, and you know, well, I ain't gonna worry about that part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because we dealing with the folks that got sensitive with that. But go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like with it being my niece, man, and with having a platform like this, y'all, I'm donating funds. 601. I'm gonna send it to you via Cash App so you can just upload it for me. But my niece is doing a band competition. We have a goal. I'm gonna post it on the Samurai Kennels page and on my Andre Williams, my personal page, on my Facebook, because we got a goal, and I truly believe that this is part of that community we're talking about. I want to make sure I put it out there, man. So if y'all see it on my page, it's for a band competition for my niece, man. And 601, like I said, I'm just gonna Cash App you the money tonight or tomorrow to make sure she gets what she needs to get to that band competition. Because one of the things I learned about band, I wish I'd have took band, and I think I've told y'all this before. I didn't realize the importance of being able to play an instrument until I went on a cruise. And on that cruise ship, every band that played was a different band, and those bands get paid to travel around on a cruise ship playing music. And then they get to go party in the Bahamas, 7 days a week. So if your kids are in band, encourage it and let them know that those extracurriculars, they do matter, and they hold weight even with college applications. So I just want to make sure y'all understand the importance of what it can do for a child.
Well, I hope she wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, shouts out to the Bulldog community. Go ahead, 601, bro. Go ahead.
My bad, man. I've been quiet all night, but I've been listening, bro. Cause I'm at work too. You know what I'm saying? But salute to everybody on the panel, man. Much love, man. And, hey, bro. Hey, man. Hey. That's all I can say tonight, bro. That's all.
Yes, sir. It's your boy Big A, man. You know what it is. Same time, same place. Next Wednesday.
Salute. Big Hill fan.
Kennels.
God damn it, I must be on mute.
I'll be here next Wednesday. If it's in the, forecast. Shout out to everybody on the panel, everybody in the chat.
All right, Big Hill fan. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me, Jay?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. 5G.
Your forehead came in on 10 that time when you zoomed in. But anyway, salute to the Bulldog community. Big Hill fan. I just pops up. You know what I mean? I definitely be here on Wednesdays with the brothers. And I got some product that I'm selling. It's like cocoa butter, because I mess with Welcome Down Rams aunt. And she got a bad ashy neck, you know what I mean? So it works wonders on her neck. So I'll give y'all that in the link. Salute.
Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez Game Dogs. I'm on YouTube and on Instagram. Trying to, show these dogs in the shows and stuff like that. Dre, thank you for having me on. I appreciate you and appreciate everybody in the panel and in the chat.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Amen to that, man. Hey, let me hit y'all with this Christian watchword, man. For those of y'all who are not believers, that's fine. I'm here for the saints and the ain'ts. All right. But let me hit y'all with it anyways. May the Lord watch between you and me while we are absent, one from another. Amen. For the love of the dogs, for the love of the game.
For the love of the game.
Love of the game.
Amen.
All right, everybody.
Amen.
Until next week.
Amen.